something to tell everybody out there.
Crenshaw Boulevard, there's a series of fires. A lot of looting is going on. A disaster area, obviously.
The jury found that they were all not guilty.
Cassette.
Not guilty verdicts for Stacy Kuhn, Lawrence Powell, Timothy Wind, and Theodore Bersenio, the 4 officers accused of beating motorist Rod
My apologies. Let's do a sound check. Are we good now? We okay? Let me grab my camera. Excuse me, not my camera, my light. Pardon me. We okay now? We're good on the sound? Oh boy, I had this old bootleg. Oh my goodness. Let's see what we're doing here. Better on the sound now. Let's put up the chat. Let's drop the background. One tick, guys. Okay. We good now? I have a lot going on right now. I have a lot going on right now. I'm starting closer to 1 o'clock because I have to go. I have to leave. I got a lot going on in my regular world that I live in, but I wanted to come on and say what's up to everyone, say hello. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. For some odd reason, thank you, Fame. He says now we can hear you. For some odd reason, I can't get the program on my personal page anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's been blocked. I don't know if they're I don't know what's going on. But some of you, if you could share, I would really appreciate it. I'm getting a little frustrated with it because it's showing that I'm on live on Facebook on my personal page. Maybe this is just God's way of telling me to just take it all over to one platform instead of all these other platforms and two different pages on Facebook, because it's always been a pain in the rear end. Now it's becoming even more. And I don't know what it is, but ever since I got back, it's been acting pretty funny. And what happens is, I don't know what it is when you don't boot these computers up, or if you don't kick the software on, some things change, some things delay, some things get messed up. And then it take me some time. And I am not, when it comes to technicalities and technical stuff like video cameras and stuff to that nature, I'm very, very limited. I was a DJ. I can hook up audio pretty damn good. But when it comes to video or troubleshooting 2025 type stuff, new audio and video stuff, I am a little bit dated. I'm a little bit dated. Things change. These softwares change all the time. Technology changes. So with that happening, I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball. I can't really catch up with it fast enough. I guess I'm showing my age a little bit, but that's the truth. I'm in a position where I can't figure this out. I don't know why it's not getting to my personal page, and how I've been able to, over the years, hit one particular button and it'll go everywhere. Now I'm having issues. I think what I want to do is probably just go over to YouTube, to be honest with you. YouTube seems to do a lot better, but I am from that culture of when things change, people will just, they won't change with it. They won't change with you. Kind of like what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out the change and it's getting too difficult. So I'd rather just not do it. So, I'll just be honest with you, man. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try to pull the energy in right now to carry on a conversation today. What's up, Sean D. Nutter? What's good with everybody? I'll do the best I can. I think I got a good topic, a couple things I'd like to talk about, easing into one and the other, to be honest. Let's do a spoiler alert. I don't want to talk about this movie if everyone hasn't seen it yet. All right, I don't want to mess everybody up. I don't want to go here on the movie Straw if everyone hasn't seen it yet. Okay? And if you guys don't know, Straw is a new movie on Netflix. It's not a special, it's a movie. Starring Taraji P. Henson, made by, of course, Tyler Perry. And I watched it with my family. Being my wife and my two daughters, we watched it together. Oh, Emmanuel, what's good, bro? Emmanuel Livingston said, try disconnecting and reconnecting your personal page on Restream. That may work. Let me try that real fast. See, he's a tech guy. Emmanuel's been doing this stuff forever, and he's familiar. We use the same platform. So let me see if that might be what it is. So I'm going to, oh, shit. Wait a minute. I disconnected. That's what's wrong. Oh, no, I did the right. All right, I did the right one. I disconnected. No, I did do the wrong one first. I did, let me see. Okay. When you say disconnect, E, do you mean like shut it all the way down, or you just mean like tangle it or toggle it all over to off and let it stay off for a little while and then do it? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, there's some people here. I'm sorry, I'm reading some comments here about the movie Straw. Some people who saying they haven't seen it yet. So I don't want to spoil it, because if you watched it, you know what you couldn't figure out. That sounds crazy. It's one. Do you remember Sixth Sense, the Bruce Willis movie? Donna says I haven't. She haven't seen it. All right. A lot goes on in this particular movie that I couldn't. I understood. I got you, E. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this system worked out, so I'm reading these these posts from E, these comments from E. He's trying to help me out with getting the page put up. E, I'm just gonna have to do it after the show, bro. You know how it is. You know how it is doing so much all at the same time and trying to get it all worked out and trying to hold it down right here in front of the camera. It's pretty tough. I have to do it every once in a while with Restream. Okay, yeah. Especially when I'm gone for a while. This isn't the first time this has happened. It just happened to fix itself last time. I've done a few things and I thought I fixed it, but I'm not quite sure if I fixed it or not. But that all being said, this movie Straw, I don't know if I really want to have the conversation yet, because it's still new. Okay, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But hell, I'm sure y'all all read the reviews, people making comments online, about what, what they seen, what they got out of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was one of those movies that I personally, I understood where they were coming from. I understood what Tyler Perry was going for. I mean, what else could he do? I mean, that's his ball of wax. That's what he does. Struggling black woman, can't pay bills, out here just messed up, effed all the way up, no support system, just everybody treating her like shit. I'm trying not to, y'all got to understand, I'm trying to not spill what's going, the movie. But this is to be honest with you, this is a typical Tyler Perry style movie. It's not originally written, as far as I'm concerned. This is just me. This is not hate, guys. This is just my opinion, okay? This is not me hating on it. Some people wrote down in the comments before or made some comments about, oh, this is just like John Q. It's not like John Q in my eyes. It's relevant a little bit, has some similarities. But John Q, my daughters and I had to watch it yesterday just so I could show my daughters, because John Q is over 20 years old. So they didn't know what John Q was. So I had to watch this movie with my daughters. And right after watching John Q, you see these movies are not the same. The only thing that's relevant is you have a parent who will do anything and everything for their child because the child is sick. And if you watch the movie, you'll see how sick her child really is. And if you watch John Q, he had a heart condition. It's different. Same premise of being parent, not having enough money to provide medical attention to the kid. That's it. One was a hospital and one was a bank. One was an intentional use of a gun to get what they needed. One was not. All right, so it's not the same for me. Unfortunately, I think I start liking it after, maybe a few, a day or two after, because certain things came to me. But let me just say this without spoiling the situation. I think what threw me off is how fast everything happened. And what I mean by that is she had a fucked up day. Like, that was too much, one thing after the other. Some of this stuff was not realistic to me in real time. That's why I didn't like it at first. Hear me out. I didn't like it at first because I ain't known nobody to have that much shit happen to them minute after minute right away. But then as the movie went on and you understood why those things, I got it at the end, because I was at first, it threw me a loop. Like, damn, you just got fired, you just got a car accident, the police chased you down, this happened, you're getting evicted, all this shit happened in one particular, like, in an hour. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, whose life is that freaking bad? But then at the end caught me up. It made me think about all the things that were happening at the beginning and why it was happening so fast. If that makes any sense. If that make any sense, because at first I was thinking like, this shit right here, bro, like, oh, here we are, and if I may say this, recently I have not been a Taraji P. Henson fan. Okay, I'm not a real big fan of hers. She's played in movies that I loved, but I was not really a big fan of hers because I think she's one way. I think she's the best at being what she is. I don't know anybody that cry like she cry or handle adversity and make you believe the situations that's going on. She's a great actress. My thing is, she's a great actress in that lane. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're looking for pain, if you're looking for somebody that's being dogged by men, if you're looking for somebody that's not being treated right, and getting kicked down the street, she's perfect for that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean, look, the lady is brilliant. She's very, very believable, and she's great at what she does. That look right there, you can feel it. She's believable. She is believable. Like, you can tell, you would think that she is actually going through it. She's a good actress. She's like Angela Bassett to me. Okay? She's the type of actress where she kind of reminds you of the last person she played in a whole different type of movie. Now, I love me some Angela Bassett, but I can't get past the fact that she been Tina Turner. She Tina Turner in every movie and everything that she played to me. I guess because it was such a great role. But Taraji P. Henson, she did her thing. It was, look, I don't know how she can't win anything. I mean, they got to put her up for some type of Oscar or something. She got to win something. What did they win? I don't know. But for me, I couldn't relate to the movie at first, and I'm going to tell you why, because I'm a little ignorant to certain things. I was sheltered as a child from things that my mother may have gone through. I knew about them as I got older, but it's one thing to know that you all had a hard time gathering, getting things to eat, and you couldn't do certain things in life. It's one thing to find out a little bit later in life than knowing at the time that you're in those conditions. Okay, and what I mean by that is my mother never told me that I couldn't get something because we were poor. She would say things like, I can't do that right now. All right, there's some people that just make you like, there's some parents that make it very clear that we can't do some shit right now because we just broke, we poor, we ain't got, my mother just was different than that. She hid her struggles with a child. You see, everybody struggled at one point, but we all struggled differently. You know what I'm saying? We all done been through some of the things. So here's why I know why a lot of women love this movie, because you felt the pain of that struggle. I don't mean to be like on your look. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I'm gonna make it clear. But I'm a big enough man to understand why certain audiences would like this movie. And it's simply because all these single women can relate to this woman and what she was going through. And later in the movie, for those that haven't seen it yet, I'm trying my damnedest not to mess this up for you, okay? If you haven't seen it yet, let the movie breathe. But see, Tyler suffocated us. He suffocated us with trauma and drama and misery and, taking the kid away and the car accident, just drama after drama every 3 or 5 minutes in this movie. It was a pile up. It was so piled up at the beginning. It was unbelievable. So it lost it lost me. But then I understood. Once I got it, once I understood why this was all happening, I understood why it happened so fast, where she was in her mind and in her place. You see what I'm saying? I get it. I almost came on here today to tell everybody that it was trash, because it took me a whole day to really run it through my mind. It took me a whole day to run that through my mind, and the things that I had been through, my mom had been through, the things that I recognized as a kid. I had to roll that back in my mind, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Now I see why my mother was the way she was towards certain people, certain men, certain things. But like, there was some things that happened and it just felt like it wasn't real. I never seen someone that disrespected in broad daylight and right in their face. I never seen a landlord that nasty. Never. I just don't. I've never seen that. I know some nasty landlords. I know some people that'll put your shit out. But see, I also had to say, and I said some things that was getting on my wife's nerves. I know I was getting on my kids. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The landlord can't just put your shit out like that. And see, when I see stuff like that, it throw me off. I thought Tyler was just pushing the envelope and going way too far. And like, guys, do you know how hard it is? Some of y'all, Terry, Anthony, AP, do y'all know how hard it is? And Emmanuel, if he's still here, it's hard for me to have this conversation because some people haven't seen the movie yet, and I'm trying not to spoil it. This is a hard movie to talk about and not be, specific about certain things. I don't want to give it away to certain people. It's still new. It came out on Friday. Okay, we watched it on Friday night. I don't want to give it away. But for those that seen it, I think you might know what I'm talking about when I say too much was happening too fast. And I didn't get it at first because I'm like, okay. We've been evicted before. You know what I'm saying? We didn't had notices on our door before. When we moved out of the law homes, my mother had a little efficiency apartment over above the palm room, and we came home one day. She picked me up from school. We walked home. There was an eviction notice on the door. I've seen all that shit. I've seen it, but I ain't never just walked home and my shit was sitting outside. I've never been involved in a set out, except when I worked in the legal department for Metropolitan Housing, and I had to do that job. It was not an easy job, but I also know the process. So I know that you can't say, I'll have your rent today, and you get home and it's raining outside and your shit sitting outside. I know better than that. So it kind of threw me off. Sorry, guys who haven't seen the movie. Kind of threw me off. But honestly, after letting the movie breathe, I can see a struggling woman, single mom, going through the things that she was going through with an ill child. I could see all that stuff building up in someone, and it all happening within that time frame that I just couldn't figure out. Do you understand what I'm saying? I couldn't figure it out. And here's the thing: if you have a mental illness, this is, what do they call that? I'm not a psychiatrist, obviously, nor am I in the mental health field or anything like that. But what do they call it when you talk to people that aren't really there? Schizophrenic, somebody that's schizophrenic or something of that nature. That must be what Tyler was going after when everything was happening so fast. Because remember when the lady, when Taraji P. Henson, I forgot the name. Somebody put it in the screen. I'd love to know the name of the character. But remember when her character dropped her daughter off at the school and the principal looked at her crazy? You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't call you. We didn't. I didn't call you, and it all started clicking to me. But it's not gonna click till the end. But for somebody like me, I was just I was a little too critical of the movie at the beginning. And I'll be honest with you, man. I'll be totally honest with you guys. If I don't be this honest, then nothing I'm saying right now will make any sense to you. But I'm just not a Tyler fan. I'm not a Tyler Perry fan of writing. I'm just I kind of went into the movie waiting for what I seen to happen, and then when I seen it happen, and it was so unbelievable, it threw me off. I actually dozed off on the movie when she was going through the things she was going through. When it got to the bank scene and she went in there, you know, I think that's when it really got a little ridiculous for me. But at the same time, folks, we don't know what's going on in the movie. We don't know. We don't know where she is mentally. We don't know all of that. We just think that she went in there to cash her check with a loaded gun, with blood from a murder on the check from from her manager. We see all this shit. She's at the counter trying to cash a check, and she's using the gun to slide the check over. Just give me my $531. I don't want all the money out of the bank. Just give me the shit just didn't make sense to me. My apologies, Brenda. Brenda Early says, Wyatt, you're telling too much for those that didn't see it. Maybe they will enjoy it from start to finish if they hear a little bit. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't grow up like that. I've never had that much trauma in my life. We've had some of those incidents, okay? For those that cried, maybe we'll talk about it in a few days of why you cried. I didn't cry. I didn't cry. I don't know. I don't know. I guess since I've never had those burdens or those responsibilities on my back and had to do it all by myself, like she did with all that adversity she had going on in her life, maybe the people that were crying were those that had been through those type of things. But I couldn't relate. I couldn't relate because, to be honest with you, this ain't gonna go over too well. So let me take a sip. I can't see a woman going through all the shit that she was going through with a child. I'd have to ask, the first thing coming to my mind is where that baby daddy at? Y'all know I got to go there with it. Where's the child's father? And if the father's not in the life, where's her family? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the family of everybody? Where's the family of Taraji P. Henson? Where's the family of the father of the child? Where's the father of the child? Where's everybody at? How is it that why do we have so many people out here on their own? I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, don't think I don't understand that it's happening. I don't understand how we get to this point. I don't understand how a father can have a baby with a woman, the baby be challenged. I don't know what the child had some type of asthma or some other type of, some type of problem. And I not be in that child's life. I don't have to be in the woman's life as a family and all that, but I have to support my child. How do women find themselves in situations where they're going through that much all by themselves? Let me read a couple comments before I had someone on the phone. They hung up. Fame said, "Damn, I just said that, Wyatt." I don't know if he meant what I just said or what I said some time ago. I don't know. Mr. Comment. Sorry, guys. My apologies. Like I said, I'm gonna get in rhythm. Terry Coleman says, I was numb to the movie, and thank God I haven't had to live her life, but I know families, both black and white, who have. Yeah, this ain't a color thing. Andrea says the child had seizures. Right. Okay. Seizures. I couldn't catch it. I mean, I got it. I understood everything. I got all the situations. Everything happened so fast. She had her car. Not only did she see, here's one of the scenes that really tripped me out. When she was in the car chase or the road rage situation, and it happened to be a police officer, and he's off duty and he chases her and makes her tail spin out, and they treat her so bad and tell her, I'm looking for a legal reason to kill you. That's just much. And then the lady police officer come out and say, we're about to tow your car. So now she doesn't have a car. She's coming from a place where they just took her child. I mean, it's just so much. It's just so much. I couldn't, just so much. So it was all this. And I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't get it all together until at the end, when I understood why everything was moving so fast. You see, you have to wait till the end to understand why everything is moving so fast. So I sympathize for the situation and I get it. But I think it was put together in such a rushed way that it took a lot. I think, let me get it. How can you say something is good, but it's not great? You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't a great movie. It was a good movie. I don't think it was written well. And that's just my opinion. That's just Wyatt. I'm no one. I don't have anything. I don't have a Netflix deal, and I'm not a producer. None of that. I'm just saying, two things can be true at one time. I understood the movie. It was a good movie, but it wasn't written well. It didn't breathe. The story wasn't told in a smooth kind of way. If you look at a movie that's written well, it's like Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis, same type of situation. Not living in reality, but yet let the movie breathe. Let things you know what I'm saying? Let things manifest itself. You see what I'm saying? And even people that have been through some of the things that the character of Taraji P. Henson had been through, even they didn't really, you know what I'm saying, grip it all the way. And I just, it's not some hate. I'll be honest with you. I didn't really want to watch it at the beginning, but that don't mean I sat in front of the screen and was like, oh, this gonna be some bullshit. I already know this gonna be some bull. I gave it a fair chance. I gave it everything. We got the popcorn. We hyped. We about to watch this new shit on Friday night. We about to do our thing. And I gave it a chance. You know what I mean? Like, we had been waiting on it for months or something, and I gave it a fair shot. I just, I guess it's like any other movie, folks. If you can't relate, then it's never going to be as good. And the more you can relate to a movie, the better it's going to be for you. And if that means my mom wasn't abused enough, or we wasn't poor enough, or she didn't have to medicate me or go get my medicine, or, she couldn't afford to pay for my school lunch. See, we've been through all of that shit. All right. We've been there, but I still couldn't catch. I didn't expect anything different from Tyler Perry. I'll be honest with you. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm mad. It doesn't mean that I don't understand people who loved it and cried. I get that, because maybe Taraji P. Henson's character is you. Maybe you've been to that breaking point where you just want to do what she did. That is so believable to me, because I know I know what single mothers go through. And believe it or not, those same single mothers that go through a lot of that trauma, whether they believe it or not, or want to believe it or not, or fight the force of this, they pass all that trauma on to their children. And looking at how this played out, a lot of those same single women that Taraji P. Henson's character was going through, that same stuff that was going through, You got to understand, those single parents had not done what Taraji P. Henson did to the extreme, going in, doing what she did, and getting fired at the bank, going to the bank, doing all that. Some of them survived all of that, but yet in the path of going through all of that, they passed all that trauma over to the kids. That's why I say we don't have bad children. We really don't. We have bad parents. I know they already ready to gong me and get me out of here because I just called Taraji P. Henson's character a bad parent. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But there had to be a bad parent in there somewhere. Where's the father? Where's the grandparents? There's a bad parent in this case, in this situation somewhere. You might not want to point the finger at the mother because she's the only one that stepped up on the responsibility and tried to do the best for her child. So I wouldn't call her the bad parent. She might have made some bad choices by having a kid with a person that's a bad parent. She may have even been the type of person that couldn't keep a relationship with her own family. I don't know. Where was all of that? I needed more context to what was going on for me to be I was not all the way engaged. After the first maybe it only takes 30 minutes of the movie to start saying to yourself, damn, it's a fucked up day. It's a bad day for her. But what I did understand more than anything was the judgmental part of the movie. The bank teller, the bank manager, the manager at the manager at her grocery store where she worked, the apartment manager. I understood all of that. I understood that they could be some low down dirty MFs and they can make your day a living hell. I can understand the police encounter. I can understand all of that. But I can't understand it all happening to you in 30 minutes of a movie. So I was disengaged at the beginning because I didn't understand what was quite going on. That's just an honest opinion. So for those that watch it for the very first time, pay attention. I know you will. But we may have to watch it twice. It's one of those type of movies that I think you're going to have to grab it in the second go round if you didn't like it at the end the first time you watched it. That's my opinion. Because if you're not able to go back and kind of say, okay, now I see why this happened, why that happened, why this way. If you're not able to do that, you're not going to like this movie. So if you totally didn't like it, no matter what, just watch it again since you know where you are in the movie. You know what's going on in the movie at the beginning. You know why things are happening the way they're happening. You know why they're happening so fast. It may take you to watch it twice to really be okay with it. This is the nicest way I'm going to possibly cover this movie. Okay, it's the nicest way I'm going to. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. It wasn't a bad movie. It's just the type of movie that I know people go through these things. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I'd like to see Taraji P. Henson do some different stuff. She's been in everything that's just kicked her ass. She is the beat up black woman of Hollywood. I mean, and I don't mean, she didn't been through it with what's the fella name? Joey. He beat her ass, treated her like shit. She got that same cry. It's that. And this isn't a hard criticism of the, of her. What I don't want to happen to her is she becomes just that. Okay. And I'd love to see her play an executive, or I'd love to see her be something different in Hollywood, to be honest with you. Now, if that's the only way she can eat and get her money, I'd never hate on it. Go ahead and do it. The next movie, it could be Straw 2. And you know, if that's how she got to get her money, then that's how she got to get her money. I won't hate on her for that. But I just, for me, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I seen people that I really love and respect who put posts out and was saying this movie was dope. It was the greatest ever, and I loved it, and I cried all the way through it. So I'll be honest with you, it don't feel good telling you that I didn't like them. I didn't. It was okay. It was okay for me. You know, because you know how our people are. You know how we can be. I'm talking about our friends and family. Our people can be the rough on you. You just didn't get it. You didn't get. Remember when your boy Kendrick Lamar came out in the Super Bowl performance, and everybody was like, "Oh boy, if you didn't love that, you didn't get it." Well, tell that to Samuel L. Jackson. All right, Uncle Sam. Did y'all see that clip of Samuel L. Jackson saying, "Man, I ain't even know what was going on, bro. I didn't even know I was Uncle Sam like that. I thought I was Unc Sam. I thought they was putting me in this like I'm the old head Unc Sam." And then on the night of performance, they give me this suit and this Uncle Sam, and it's just now hitting me what's going on. And I'm like, bro, you in it? You know, your manager, your team cashed you for something that you didn't understand. And I find it hard to believe, but he don't have anything to lie about. I mean, he said it. You know what I'm saying? He said, I didn't know anything. I didn't know where this was going. I didn't know where this Super Bowl performance was going. And if you don't believe me, just try to find the clip. It's a snippet. It's something I think on TikTok or something. Samuel Jackson said, "Man, I didn't know that's where we was going. I didn't know that's where we were going with the Super Bowl and my Uncle Sam performance. I didn't know that." He said he thought he was Unc Sam, and that he was just down with the younger crowd, and he was just saying the things. And then he was like, "Is that an American flag on the stage?" You know, when they formed the American flag, the dancers. He didn't know all of that because he said they never had a dress rehearsal, that they just rehearsed. And he was just seeing, he just see the dance steps. Twin said, I seen it. He didn't know. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird that you don't, but he's older. It's like the older guys don't hear hip hop, and I'm one of them. They don't hear hip hop the same way that these young folks hear it. Now, I ain't talking about the trashy hip hop. I'm not talking about rap. That's not hip hop. I'm talking about like conscious rappers. If you want to call him a conscious rapper, Kendrick Lamar's. There's messages in his music, and I don't think he didn't come out. I don't think Samuel L. Jackson understood what was being said, and They Not Like Us and some of the other songs. I don't think he was there with it, because why would he make that comment out loud about he didn't know? Unless somebody, said something to him and told him, his management or something told him, "Hey, bro, you have to get yourself up out of this one. Let's make some comments, some public comments." I don't know. That all being said, man, hey, if I had to rate this movie Straw from 1 to 5, it's a 3. And what makes it a 3 for me is the acting from one person. Taraji P. Henson saved the movie. Twin said it was a 5-star. Fine. I mean, look, I ain't mad if you called it off the scale. I'm not mad if somebody called it a 1. It ain't that bad, okay, at all. But if that's how they seen it, if that's how they perceived it, fine. But for me, it's a 3. And what makes it a 3 in my book, a 3, best is a 5, a 3 is because I don't know anybody right now who can bring character as well as Taraji P. Henson. And I don't even care for her like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care for her like that. Like, I really don't. But I have to be honest and tell you, she saved it. She saved the movie. She played the part so well, and she was so believable that it made me go back and try to understand where we are, what's going on with it. I just, I can't say that I expected more, because I went in expecting what I expect from Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is the type of individual that shits on men. I'm sorry, ladies. But when you have a person who uses their platform to just simply make men look bad, how you not aiming at black men when you cast all black characters and all the black men be, we either running over the women or we're nowhere to be found from women. If he was doing movies and it was all flavors and all shapes and sizes and all colors of everybody, then I wouldn't hold him as critical as pointing the finger strictly at black men. But when your leading lady and your leading cast is always black people, and the men are always seen as absent, abusive, then you're pointing the finger at black men. And fellas, I don't have nowhere near the platform that some of these people have, but the little bit that I have, I'm gonna defend us. And I know more. I personally surround myself with more responsible black men than people than people know about black folk. Like, they think our men are like if white people seen this movie, if Asian people seen this movie, if Latino people seen this movie, if any other race of people seen this movie on Friday night, they're asking the same questions that most people with some damn sense is asking. And where's the baby's father? Where's the family of the children of the child? And to me, it plays straight into all that shit that they want you to think about black folks. I'm tired of that, guys. I've been telling y'all this for a long time on this platform. The perception that black folks have is ridiculous out here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and I don't want to take the power out of those that love, or I don't want to take the amp out of those that think that this Tyler Perry movie is the greatest in the world. I'm not saying for each his own, but I'm telling y'all, a long time ago, I told you, to be a billionaire in America, white, black, whoever you are, you have to have permission from certain people to be in those positions. And when I see people in certain positions that can fund different ways of how we're perceived, when they can fund movie projects, there's no reason in the world Spike Lee should have had to go and get money from rich black folks, and he had to pull teeth to get it, to show how we go from something from the curb, from the block to something important. Why don't we have more Hollywood money, budget money for those type of good things? You see what I'm saying? I just feel that way. I just feel like, there's so much more, so much good that we do that it's not seen. It's not enough of it isn't seen. And then you have the media who pretty much fuels the negativity. And granted, look, we do bad shit, but everybody do bad shit. Every race of people do bad shit except Asians. I'm just kidding. I was just playing. Stop. Just don't see them in the news. You see them, they get 3 stories a year, 365 days, 52 weeks. Then you see them on TV 3 times. But I'm just saying, I just need, and I told y'all when I made that little comment about permission to be a billionaire, I think that they give certain people, certain mentalities, certain people who are going to control certain narratives, they are going to allow those people to be, that's their seat at the table. That's their seat at the table. I would love to see somebody like Shaquille O'Neal. I can't spend other people's money. I hate when people do that to me. I can't stand it when people tell me, if I was you, I'd do such and such. Well, it don't quite work that way. But I would love to see Shaquille O'Neal, who has this en route for Papa John Pizza. I would love him to go to, maybe, this is what I would do. I would go to an HBCU. I would seek out a business degree major and someone that's graduating with that's inspiring to be, a franchise owner or a business owner, or whoever had the best business plan towards their business. That's what I would push for if I was in the position to do things like that. I've done the best I can at the level that I'm on. But if I was someone like Tyler Perry with a studio, it would be very clear what my agenda is. And for me, quite frankly, just my judgment of what I see, it's very clear what his agenda is. And I think he had to have permission to do that. Do you really think, I mean, it's been how long now and how many different type of shows? You would think that there would be a powerful show out there by now, a powerful movie that we just can't get enough of showing some excellence. That's just me. That's just me. I'd rather be talking about a different type of movie today than trying to explain a black woman's struggle that came from decisions and other things that probably were not, that failed in her life. Because it's not, listen, this is going to be a little bit different than probably what you was used to, but or what you thought we were going to talk about on this. But to be honest with you, it's just not her. We got to stop trying to look at these systems that's failing. The landlord, it's not the landlord's fault that she couldn't pay her rent. All right? It's not it's not the manager's fault that she can't, go to work on time, that her kid is sick. They got a business to run. We can show sympathy and we can feel sorry and we can do those things, but your problems cannot fall on everyone else when it comes down to business, when it comes them taking care of their business, the things that they need to be doing in life. We got to learn how our problems is not everybody's problem. And I don't mean black folks. I'm talking about as an individual, our problem, my problems. This is why I don't like to have, this is why I don't share my problems with people, because I understand people have problems of their own. And I don't want to tell you my problems because you got your own shit to deal with. All right. And one of the hardest things, let me just say this as a man, as a father. All right. As a father, forget all the black father shit. There's plenty, and there's great black fathers out here doing way more than what I'm doing. And we don't get enough recognition and all that. But I'm just going to say this to you. One of the struggles that I've had as being a father is being everything for everybody in the home. When in fact, I'm not that guy outside my home. Like, save your problems. Don't tell me your shit. I don't care about your problems. I got my own shit to deal with. So now I got 3 women in my house. Well, 3 women that I've been in the house. And women have no problem telling the man the problems. And remember the old saying, I told you an old head taught me a long time ago? Let me see what Tracy was saying after this, and then I'm going to get to the phone line. An old head told me a long time ago, he said, man, listen, as the man of the house, whenever you have a problem, you have a problem, okay? But when your wife have a problem or your daughters have a problem, y'all got a problem. And I was raised that way. I was raised to understand that whenever I have a problem, I keep my problems to myself and I solve them. I try to deal with them on my own. That might not be the right thing to do, but that's my manly way of handling things. I do things on my own. My wife think I'm sometimes a little edgy and she don't quite understand why I might be snappy, because I'm dealing with shit. Okay. You don't understand that because you always telling me your problems. You see what I'm saying? So I understand why you snappy. I understand why you're going through what you're going through, because you didn't already gave me the rundown of all the shit you're going through. And that's my wife, my daughters, the women in my household. But men absorb all that stuff on their own and try to deal with it and not bring other people into their problems. That's just me. There's a few other men that probably do the same thing. And there's probably some men that handle it just like their wife or just like their girlfriend or like their daughters. I don't know. Let me read these comments real fast, if you guys don't mind. Jack says, pecking order. Tracy Dillahan, what's up, sis? She says, all of his cast and Why Did I Get Married were married. Okay. Yeah, but why did I get married? I mean, wasn't they all like horrible marriages? Not horrible, but didn't they all have shit like diseases and cheating and all this old shit? Like, why be married? Wasn't that the question? Why even be together if all this shit is going on? It wasn't a good representation of marriage. That's from what I remember. Was that the one with Janet Jackson in it? And the singer, what's her name? I forgot her name. The heavier set lady, Jill Scott. Wasn't that movie? I mean, the title alone lets you know that the marriages aren't going to be all that great. Why did I get married? Shit. I'm just saying, sis. Mama Birch, she says all government issued for the people in need. Huh? Okay. I don't know. Mama Birch is. See, these comments were some time ago, so I'm not playing fair. I'm not playing fair, but I think Mama Birch is banging them back again before during the show. I'm just playing, Mom. All right, let me read a couple more and then I'm gonna go to the phone line. Tracy says, how did her problems fall on everybody else when she didn't even have a village? She wouldn't even accept money from her friend at work. No, what I'm saying is, Tracy, I'm not saying that she passed her problems on intentionally to everybody or tried to borrow money or tried to bring, go drop her baby off to a babysitter that she didn't, and not pay the babysitter or not pay the rent and all that. I'm talking about when you have a responsibility at a job, okay? And your job don't want to hear, I got to go pick up my kid, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. They got business to attend. Those lines was long in the store. You know what I'm saying? He told her, I got to call in somebody else. You might as well just gone home. Matter of fact, you fired. There's a lot of things that we do as individuals that we see as being insensitive because we take our problems to our workplace. Me, I'm a little bit different. That's how I manage people. I generally try to be part of your family. I try to be part of your family. I try to be, show, compassion and all of that. I understand how families could be. But at a certain point, some people take advantage of that. Some people know that you not soft, but you kind of easy on certain situations. And they'll burn it up. There's some people that'll do that. So I'm not suggesting that she was intentionally taking her problems or spilling her guts out to her friends and trying to make people feel sorry for you. No, she wasn't. Matter of fact, she did turn down some money. She did do all those things, but it still affects people. You know what I'm saying? It still affects people. I mean, whether we like it or not, if you are the type of person that got a lot of shit going on in your life, and you got friends and you share some of that stuff with your friends, it's going to affect their life too if they love you. And not to mention when you go to work or when you're doing some things. Cedric Robertson says, straw, 9 minutes and it's already too much. Not one person had any sympathy for her. They all looked like her too. All right, I got it. That's another thing about that movie. Cedric, that's a good point. I don't know if everybody that looks like us are that cold towards us. That's just what I just didn't understand, how everybody was so horribly mean to her. Like, did that school stuff really happen? You see what I'm saying? I don't want to spoil the movie for people that haven't seen it yet. But did that really happen at school? Did the principal really dime her out like that and say that the kid had bruises because he fell? And did that stuff really happen, or was that just in her mind? But I do know that a school will call. And do we say to ourselves, a school shouldn't call when a kid come to school bruised up from falling? Is it not fair for us to say, well, yeah, a school should look into that? And then when the mom go off and say, well, we eat, the gas and electric be off, but we still eat. I've been through that. Remember I told y'all we ate cold hot dogs. We put the hot dogs on the radiator. You think if Child and Family Services knew about that they would be okay with me living in those conditions? So I totally understand. I get it. Regina says, don't take it out on your family. AP says, I disagree, Wyatt. Used to be time when employers actually took stock in helping employees. They still do. I worked for Frisch's as a manager. Remember all the old heads telling me how the daddy knew every, I'm sorry, the screen moved. Remember all the old heads telling me how the daddy knew every employee, always asked how they were doing and if they needed anything, which garnered a loyal employee. Yeah, I remember those days. It still happens. I know that small businesses are like that. If you're in a business that has 1,300 employees, you may not get that type of love. If you got 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 people in your company, you may not get that love. But if you work at the neighborhood bakery and y'all a family-oriented type of thing, you may get that same love. Frisch's is like that. How many employees work at Frisch's? 20, 25, 30? That's a small business. I know it's a franchise, you know, it's a big company, but generally it's a small conducive type of people. And the manager have to usually manage the mothers who would probably single moms, needed babysitters, was going through a lot of stuff and dealing with that stuff on their own. Yeah, those things still happen today. It still happen today. I just don't know. Is the world that cruel that what Taraji P. Henton's character was going through? Is the world that cruel that the landlords do that? The managers at the jobs do that? Maybe I'm just naive, but I've never been treated that way. I've never seen my mother. My mother was treated horribly by men and put in conditions where she had to deal with things and do things on her own and get me and her through things. Yes, I understand that struggle, but maybe I'm just naive. Maybe that's why, like I said, you have to generally experience certain things to get it, and it feel different. It hit harder. It hit different when you have experienced some of those things. Let me see this. This is the couple more. Which probably, I'm sorry, Terry Coleman says, which probably means she was late to work a lot or taking off since her child was sick. Right. And what happens is now what you have to do is you want to give her hours. You want to keep her on the clock, right? You want to keep her working. But what happens when she can't show up? It affects the job. Now the job has to call somebody in that may not be wanting to come in and slow the job. It slow everything up. You know, we just got to understand that it's more than just how we feel about these situations. There's some things that we got to look at and say, hey, it affects other people. When certain things happen to you, when your problems happen to you, it affects other people, whether we like it or not. Mama Birch says, since you can't read my comments during your speeches, don't read them at all. Don't make me throw a pork chop at you, Randy. All right. She said, Doc. Let me go to the phone lines real fast, man. I did the best I can. I'll go to another subject right after we get off these phone lines and we talk to some people. There's been a lot of people calling, so I can only deal with one at a time. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, son?
Hey, what's going on? Twin, what's good, bro?
I can't call it. Yeah, man, I get up 5 or whatever. You know, he wrote it in 6 days. And
he wrote what in 6 days? That movie?
He wrote that movie in 6 days and then filmed it the following week after. So he should have took another couple of more weeks, man. I seen the scenes. I want to see like
true,
the
Twin?
graves.
I'm not questioning you, but I'm asking you guys, is that true? He wrote that movie in 6 days?
He wrote it in 6 and shot it the following week.
How long did he take to shoot it? Do you know that?
I don't know that on that part, but I know he shot it in the next week after.
Okay.
After he wrote it in 6 days.
That kind of makes sense because it kind of let me say something about what you just said. It kind of makes sense because it sounded rushed. It felt rushed to me. That's what I meant when I said everything was happening way too fast. It felt rushed. And then here's the other thing. That's one of the reasons why I asked you, Twin, how long it took him to shoot it. This is going to be a little bit of a shade, but I don't mean it to be in a dirty kind of way. But is it me? But was wardrobe off the hook? Was everybody looking crazy? Like everybody's shit was too big?
Trash.
I mean, like the police officer shit looked like they went, oh, just put this on, man. Get out there and go do that shit. It just didn't look
Tiana Taylor, the one that Miss Officer Edmonds, whatever her name, she said that's her outfit from home. That's custom made.
Oh, the girl that played the police officer, the detective?
Yeah, that's her outfit from home.
Yeah,
she put that wardrobe together, she said.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
And then why, we get calls from, the truant officer, the teacher, your kid smelling pissy or your kids got bruised. You go get them calls, why? I want to know where the daddy was. And then what was your second job? The grocery store seemed like it was your only job. She said she had a second job, but I ain't see it. And then after that, why it seemed like it was go set it off when they came in there and shot. I'm like, man, what they doing now? Another set it off movie? It went from set it off to John Q movie, man. Remember John Q with Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
So, that's what it seemed like it to me, man.
Well,
and then I got the first part. I thought she was I know she set it up to rob the manager. When she killed her, I thought them guys came up in there. She called them in there, but it was a different type of robbery. But at first, I thought it was her that called them up in there to rob them because she ain't got her paycheck. So it was off base for me. And then you ain't see the scene when when she was in the bank and the lady was sitting in the chair. The older lady, one had used the bathroom. You ain't see it when she said when they had the book bag on the counter. And then I was like, how did the book bag get on her back that way when she started unhooking the cords in the room? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
She saw the scene when she was unhooking the cords for the camera.
Yeah.
But how did you get that backpack back on your back like that? So it didn't make no. He dropped the ball on a couple of scenes, man. I wanted to see how the end. Did she go to jail? Did she get out? What was the baby did? If you saying you got all these 99 problems, your daughter having seizures, what was the daddy at? He should have put that up in there. But she put it only had one part. Oh no, I can't talk to my mom and they all crazy. And her mama got on the phone. Why is you doing this and all that? And
Right.
that was on. So I didn't too much. It was all right. That's why I said I give it a 5. It was all right. I ain't gonna lie, Wyatt. I cried. I shed a little tear.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, man, it was touching. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah.
But I just think that some things could be good, but just not done well. Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't. I could, like little details, bro. Like I know this is gonna probably not go over too well with people, but why did everybody look like this was a play? It looked like a play, like the detail, the costume. And I know people are gonna be like, what that got to do with anything? When you're watching a movie, the visual is very important. It's a movie, it's not a radio show, it's not a talk show. You don't use your own imagination. These things are supposed to be set forth in front of you to be believable. This is why I say Taraji P. Henson saved it, because if she wasn't as great as she was at playing this role, it would have been so far off the chart of not being believable. From the police officer coming out there with baggy short shoe, his hat over his face. I mean, nobody looked like their role. Do you understand? I mean, nobody. Let me just give him a shout out also, because if I say something bad, I want to follow it up with something that's bigger than the bad part that I bring up. Shout out to Tyler Perry for bringing in Sinbad. For casting Sinbad.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I forgot about him, man.
I want to say thank you, TP, Tyler Perry, for doing something for Sinbad. Sinbad was one of my favorite guys, and when he got on Different World, I loved him to death. And he was always funny. He was one of the very best comedians in America who represented us and never had to say a bunch of cuss words to come off as being funny. He was one of my best comedians coming up.
Hey, Arnez J did a fundraiser for him, man. Raised over 40,000. Arnez J, the comedian.
Yeah, I didn't hear.
I was listening to him on Club Shay Shay, and he was telling his story how he raised 40,000. After he was down, man. But about how long it been? 4-5 years, maybe.
It's been
3 years.
COVID.
He had that stroke.
Yeah, it's been since COVID. I mean,
yeah, he was messed up behind that, man. So, because last time he came to Cincinnati,
hold on. My bad. Tracy Dillon here says this is not White Hollywood Paramount Studios. Wait a minute, come on, sis. Come on now. Don't make it sound like this is a billionaire. This is a guy here. Listen, let me just be honest with you. Don't make it like how we think, like you can buy a little $500 ass sled car and put $2,000 rims on it and a $5,000 stereo inside of it. When you have when you're a billionaire and you have a studio larger than Hollywood, I expect better than Hollywood. I expect us to set the bar. See, this I don't like that under, and I don't mean that in a negative kind of way. I want Black excellence. It's certain things that make me believe that Tyler Perry is not put in place to show Black excellence, because we shouldn't have to, we shouldn't need to have those type of discussions about the wardrobe, and stuff like that. Like Brenda earlier said, exactly. Y'all don't understand. Those are very important things that we have to put in place. We don't have to be as good as them. We should be better than them when it comes down to representing and doing what we're doing. It's little simple things, man. Okay, let me give him the benefit of the doubt once again. If he's going to pay Black actresses and Black actors more than anybody, then I'll give him a pass for the wardrobes and shit looking sloppy. I'll give him a pass. But I gotta keep it 100. You can't come on there and the ladies, even the women was tripping out about the girl who had the wig on, the police officer. The wig was crazy. The police
So,
officer, everybody's shit was too, but that ain't had nothing to do with the plot and all that old shit. Those are just little bitty things that we just gotta pay attention to. That's all.
you're right. Yeah, but other than that, it was all right movie. It was all right, man. And I liked when Tiana Taylor, she did her thing. And she said, I'm going out here myself. That's what you talking about, FBI. So she did her thing. And then the last one, this ride, whatever, immigration stuff over there in LA, man. You
Okay.
see that?
Yeah.
I don't care what you can I don't care what you say. Why if the National Guard wanna come here, Mayor Affleck got all right to say no, they can't come. And people want to put it on dude Trump saying, "Oh, this fault." No, he got all right to stop that. Just like when Trump tried to pull that you need the National Guard for them YNs up in Chicago. Mayor Lightfoot said no when he wanted to stop it up there. So it's up to the mayor to choose wisely if he wants the National Guard. That could have been stopped, right? And people I don't know, they putting it on dude, but no, it's Newsom job to stop that. I mean, whoever the mayor of LA,
Well,
to stop all the LA County. If you
I
really
hear
look
you.
at it,
I hear you. I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you, I understand where you at with it.
yeah,
A lot of people think that the National Guard has no business there. It's not like a threat was happening and he said, "Well, I'm
exactly.
about to send the National Guards." It took him 3 days. They had already been doing what they were doing for 3 days. And the last time something like this happened, where there were riots, um, he didn't step in, and police departments and a lot of people that Minnesota took a huge hit, billions of dollars, $1 billion hit for mismanaging the city. They didn't do what they needed to do, and that city took a hit. And the reason why they don't want him to be in part of it is because if he does something right for them, then they have to praise him. So you guys, or if anybody do it, that's why I say to your point, when Trump offered the National Guard to Chicago and Lightfoot said no, my question to her, even to this day, even though she's not the mayor anymore, is, since you said no, how has the crime in Chicago been? It's still the same. Nothing changed. Matter of fact, it got worse. You went and had 115 shootings in one weekend. And if people are refusing the assistance that they really need just so they don't have to deal with somebody, you're not serving the people right. And to be honest with you, Twin, I wasn't really going to talk much about that situation in LA because
No, I had to bring it up and
no,
see
no,
your
no,
input on
no.
it. That's
Listen, I
why I brought
started
it
my
up.
show with some live footage from there. I've showed it,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
got
yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
smoke for it. But as us, bro, I've been trying to tell us a long time ago that ain't really got nothing to do with us, and we should let them go ahead and deal with it. But I keep
Right,
telling you, those folks don't mess with us either.
right,
So don't be fighting;
right.
they fight. And
Did you see Stefan live?
I did not see his live. Somebody put it
I wish you would have saw it, man. Cause man,
what is
I'm gonna try
the one
to.
about the old
He
folk
was
home?
talking about the nursing home and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
the
yeah.
Vidoc,
Okay,
the Vidoc old Harrison and everything, and how people, man, just don't care about. They just put their relatives in there, and, don't do no welfare check and all that. See, I used to do home health care, Wyatt, and Twin love my elder, and I like talking to OG,
mhm,
give me good advice and listen to their story. But
yeah,
Wyatt, man, I kid you not, man. God's my wit. Man, Wyatt, I used to live to them, man, and I probably saw their relatives one time. They don't supposed to. I hate to say this, Wyatt. They don't even supposed to ride with me in my car, man. And I used to take them to the grocery store, take them to they get a hairdo or nails or something like that, Wyatt,
mhm,
and just to get them out, just to feel love, man. Cause you get bed sores, and I used to wash them up and all that. Man, how you get this?
right.
No, you gotta walk. No, you're not gonna sit
Well,
on this chair all day.
let me ask you something,
You,
Twin. Who was
what's
that?
up,
Who
player?
was that you said was in the old folks' home? Was in the living assistance? Who was it?
What you say now?
Did you say you used to go see somebody in one of those homes?
Yeah, I used to see somebody in the nursing home, and then
Okay,
they transferred them to the hospital before they went to the nursing home. And
okay,
then Stefan Stefan been to the nursing home, and he,
Okay.
you know, but I'm speaking from experience, what I saw with my own eyes.
Okay.
And that one now my even though when I quit, White, I was still doing.
Oh, so
Couldn't
you
go to
worked
the
there?
stuff for me. Huh?
You worked there once before? Not that particular one, but you worked in a
No,
living
I used to
assistance.
do you used to do home health care, and I
Okay.
said, where you at? And
Okay.
the lady told me she was at this facility. And I knew somebody at that facility, and I said, "Hey, can I come see her?" And whatever. She said, "Yeah." So I came up there and I said, "How long you got?" She said, "Until I get out, till I start walking." But when came back, White, and I kept looking for them, they gave me the runaround. Now I looked on the damn internet at Walker. I think it was Walker. I want to say Thomas George. One of them. Friend, I looked on there, White, to search her name on the obituary list. She dead, man.
Mm.
And we
Well,
2 days apart on my birthdays. And I'm like, what people? Like, man, why you ain't tell me? So I went over there where she stayed at around the corner from me when I was in Lincoln Heights. I say, hey, such and such died. She like, yeah. I said, oh my God. And it was sad, man. It hurt my heart because I saw out there towards Bethesda, right there in Montgomery. I think that's Jewish hospital, I want to say.
hmm
Either Jewish or Christ out there. I went to go see her out there. Now, they ain't wanted. She got tired of eating that nasty hospital food. So I went to go get her favorite, Long John Silk. So she
that's
told me to
pretty
bring her
good.
that, and we chopped it up. And I said, Miss Betty, if I don't see you, you know I love you and
Okay.
stuff, and
Well,
I'll be back.
that's listen,
And
man. I think that's very big of you, twin. When you get it,
yeah, man.
I seen Stefan's video. I haven't seen the entirety of it, but I seen enough to know what it's about and what his discussions are, and that he put one particular um, nursing home or assistant living home on blast there, which he's only talking about the one that he went to and he talked to the lady. I get it. So I'm very limited on all what I know, but I'll talk about a little
Yeah,
bit of it because I seen some of it. But my thing about that is this. Um, where are the families?
that's what I'm saying.
I
Why?
mean,
That's
where's
why
I
I
mean,
only saw one, man. Out of
maybe,
my whole time, I probably saw one. Man, they quick to hurry up and rush you to get their insurance money, man.
but hold on
Then you
now. That
gotta,
and
but
that
why you got their property and stuff in your name, and you wonder why the white folks come take it because you don't care for the property no more. It's just the white folks too. I know a couple of white folks
oh
think
they
like
bro,
that too,
bro,
white.
bro,
Same way. Wait
they
for you
do
to die, man, to
it,
get the insurance money.
yes, sir. I was gonna say this particular neglect does not have a color, okay? Because it
Exactly, man.
definitely
It's
happens.
about insurance. It's about money. Man, I don't care about your own relative. I refuse to put my mom in a nurse home when she was like my relative. Telling me, we should just put no. The hell you ain't put yourself in here. My mama, I'll go down and get my mom. God forbid she ain't. God, she's not here no more. But no, she ain't going to no damn nursing home.
Right. Well,
But no,
you
I
know
don't
that.
believe in that, man. Cause what they go do, man? Let you sit there and watch TV with bed sore and make you eat that jailhouse food? No, not mine. I'm cool.
So
No,
I
but it's
guess this.
sad,
Let me
White. If
ask
you
you.
just look at it,
Let me
man,
ask
and
you.
people
Since
don't, they
let,
don't care no more, White. They don't care, man. I don't think they
well, that's
care
been a
about.
problem for a long time. That's been a problem since I was little. Not a kid, but I remember having someone in my family in one of those nursing homes, and it was one of my aunts. And a lot of people, well, we had a little different type of a family. My aunts went over, my first aunts, not my great aunts. This was
Why we used to care. Why it's about money now, fam? It's
yeah,
about
yeah,
money. They
but
can't wait. First thing they say, hey, do we got insurance? What we need to do a GoFundMe page. That's all it's about, Wyatt. That's all it's
I'm talking
about.
about family, and I think that more people who have a better relationship with their family members, why everything is good, why everything is
Yeah,
Gucci,
yeah.
tend to have a better. Those elderly have a better situation. I don't think somebody that's visiting their older person in these assistant living programs. I don't think if they have communications with their families or if they're involved with their families, if they engage with their families, I think the neglect is harder I think whatever the nursing home is doing to those old folks is a little bit harder to get done. You see what I'm saying? I think that the more if I go see my mother, rest her soul, in a nursing home once a week, I would know if she's eating dry cereal or hot dog buns without meat. I would know about that because I'm engaged in my family member's life, my mother's life. But if you're not going to see your elderly, if you're not going to see your mother but once every 3 months or once every 6 months,
That's what I was
or
dealing with. Why? I didn't report it to the people, our agents I work for, but that's what I was dealing with. I say, what? I say to my man, like, what she got to call me and all this? I'm like, just like, for example, yesterday, I come from downtown, having fun with my son. I come back, man. Dude had a mass heart attack. Why? My neighbor.
Okay.
And I thought he was dead. His son over there crying. I say, Sam, what's good, man? Come here. And stuff, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to, I'm just lost. My brother went psycho, and man, I'm just on the ground like, no, 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 no. We ain't gonna do that. Man, just pray, man. Just pray. And I talked to him like, man, I've been through that, losing my mom, losing my dad and a daughter 4 years ago. And no, you just can't give up, man. Just I said, I'm gonna say a prayer for you, man. And I prayed with him and everything. I said, man, don't give up, man. Just pray for your dad. I said, what hospital? He gave me the info. And I'm gonna see him tomorrow, man. I said, man, the word, I'm gonna see your pops, man. And stuff, because your pops was cool. I've been knowing him for a year, but he was cool, man. And to see him, Wyatt, to come out the house, I'm like, oh, not OG. And I thought he was gone, Wyatt. But he said he doing okay. And then he got the bad news that he needed a lung transplant. I said, oh, God. He had a mass heart attack. And, I care for people, man. I just don't want to, go out here and do some psychedelic ass shit. Just blow up the world, just shoot somebody, do something stupid, man, off itself. And, I gave him a little advice and encouragement, man. Just keep God first, man. Just pray. Everything go work out itself. Just pray, man. Don't give up, man. One thing I don't never give up. Keep going.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. That all makes sense. But I think part of the problem, and I hate to be the one to break the bad news, but I think there's more than just elderly assisted living places that are going to take take advantage of our families if we're not involved or engaged in our families' lives.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to do a better job. It's funny. I'll say my little story when you get off. You got anything else there, twin? You good?
Man, that's other nights coming on, man, engaging everything.
Okay, brother. I appreciate you engaging with us, man. Thank you, twin. I appreciate you,
brother.
Man. All right, man. Thank you. Yeah, I get it. I had a conversation with my daughters the other day, and boy, I got some entitled kids. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did a bad job. I'm a bad dad. Jokingly, my wife and I were sitting there, and we were talking, and we was talking about something that has something to do with how older people are being treated and blah, blah, blah. And we seen something on television or something. And it was, I think, Succession, the movie, the show Succession or something. And I was just having a good time with my kids. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I said, man, I can't wait, boy. Y'all talking about all this nice stuff y'all going to have when you graduate and you go off and have your careers and how nice your house going to be and this and that. But I never hear anything about how y'all going to take care of mama and daddy. Jokingly, I said that, right? You got to be careful. You might get some truth out of these kids. You joking with their ass. So I was like, well, what part of the wing? Because, my kids talking about mansions. I'm going to live in that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to see you match this energy. But anyway, I said, what part of the mansion are you going to allow me to live in? The east wing, west wing, north wing, south wing? Where am I going to stay? My daughter said, shockingly, my daughter said, what do you mean? You think, what, you going to live with me? I'm like, well, yeah, I've been taking care of you all this time. And then I knew this was my child with this response. Daddy, how could you say that? I said, what you mean, baby? I've done everything in the world for you. She says to me, but Dad, you are the father. You are the father. I didn't ask to be here. You and mom had me. It's y'all job to take care of me. And I said, ain't this about to myself? My female cousins back in the day would have said, listen to that little heifer. So I did get a little of my own when she said that. So here was my comeback. I said, you right, baby. You right. You didn't ask to be here. Mom and I brought you in this world. But I tell you what, I want you to understand that we've done things for you that we're only responsible to put clothes on your back, feed you, and make sure you get an education. But those clothes don't have to be nice clothes. You didn't have to have Uggs. We could have went to Walmart and got you some Spider-Mans or some Hulk Hogan's or some old crazy shit. You didn't have to have Nikes. We could have took you up to Payless and got you some buddies. Remember those buddies? They cost $1.99. Buddies. They make your feet feel fine. That's the shit I used to hear when I was a kid. All right. You're right, baby. We didn't ask. You didn't ask to be here. But when you were here, we provided for you. We took care of you. We gave you things that were going to make it a little bit more comfortable in your life to go through the things that you were going to have to go through in life. We put you in nicer clothes, nicer schools. We got you, took you on trips. We involved you in things. You're absolutely right. We didn't necessarily, you didn't ask to be here, but we were obligated to do these things for you. But keep in mind, sweetheart, we didn't have to do the nice stuff for you. You could be riding the bus like I had to ride the bus and get a transfer. We didn't have to get you cars. We didn't have to pass cars down. We didn't have to do that stuff. So kids, even kids that, they lose touch a little bit. And I was like, baby, you trying to tell me that when I get old and I'm sitting there like, you ain't going to take care of me? Well, yeah, I'm going to make sure you in a nice place. But you got that big ass mansion and you trying to tell me I can't get the guest house? I'm just saying, she had me a little rattled and she was like, nah, I'm just playing daddy. And I was like, no, you what? You were dead ass. You were dead ass. I know you were dead ass. Let me go to the phone lines before I get up out of here. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Hey Wyatt, it's Tracy. How are you?
Sis, what's going on? What's happening? I'm holding on. Both hands.
I'm at home sick today, but I'm gonna make this quick because I know you gotta go. And welcome back
Thank you.
By the way. Your pictures were beautiful. So I want to say a few things.
Okay.
In the Black community, we often live by a code of don't be out there telling your business.
Okay.
What happens in this house stays in this house, right?
Yeah.
So then when we bring those issues and we break the code and we bring those issues to a book or to the big screen, then we sort of shit on people because we do. It's like, I think some people are looking at this movie way too deep. The focus on the clothes and the focus on the hair. That's all the superficial bullshit that we don't need to be looking at right now anyway.
Sis, I think,
because it don't matter. Let me just say this though, this one thing. This whole where's the daddy at? I wanted to know where the daddy was. He's in that same effed up pool of missing and absent fathers that you probably know and you're not looking for in real life.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about nobody specifically, but if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. But why are we looking so deep in this movie and we not looking deep in our own backyards? We got friends, we got people on the call who's probably a deadbeat dad or listening to the podcast right now that's a deadbeat dad.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is about a woman whose S on her chest fell crooked and she had a breaking point. Wyatt, that could have been your mom or my mom because we were both raised by single parents. But the difference is your mom had her mother and my mom had hers. But all of this, where is this and where is that and laughing at this and laughing at that. I bet you're right, Wyatt. I bet you he raised the salaries and had to cut his budget in other areas. I'm going to let you speak.
No. I think you have a valid point, sis. That's why, it's tough to say certain things because some people, not just you, but others, they catch that. I said a whole lot before I got into the wardrobe because look, a lot of people were talking about certain things like that. If you're going to be in the competitive market, then you're going to have to bring, if not better, if not the same energy, you got to be better. Now, all I was saying was some of the wardrobe was kind of messed up, but I had a whole lot to say before that. I understood.
I heard you. I've been on the call.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you just caught it at the wardrobe spot because the way I judged the movie was, I just, it was a little rushed. I didn't know that he wrote it in 6 days. None of that came to me. I didn't know that. I didn't look up the movie and look up how he prepared it and he shot it in. Somebody even put it on here. It was written in 6 days and shot in, I forgot how many days they said. That kind of makes sense to me now because in my mind, when I first cut the movie on, it just was rushed. That doesn't have anything to do with the challenges that the woman was going through. But you have to understand that there's more than just, this is why they call it the big screen in the movies. It's because you can't just, it can't just be about the story. The perception, the illusion, all that has to be there too. That's why I said Taraji P. Henson saved the movie for me because she was very believable in this condition that she was in, these circumstances. But there was a lot of stuff that if I looked at the movie and seen it, I wouldn't put it on a high level scaled movie because of how you've seen B movies before, you've seen low budget movies before, and you can't get into them because the acting isn't there, or the tape of the movie, you know, like the film roll is not there. And a lot of people, they judge the movies by how they look and how, you know, how people are dressed in them, meaning the wardrobe and stuff. And I'm saying that Tyler Perry has way too much working for him to put it out like that. That's all I was saying. It don't take anything away from
Wyatt,
the movie
though,
and the
I think he focused on the lessons.
Okay, hold on.
And
sis,
not like the length of time.
Hold on. Sis, Brenda Early said the movie was shot in 4 days.
They said Taraji's part was shot in 4 days.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with Brenda. That's my girl.
Okay, but no, I don't think
he
she
shot
was
the
arguing.
movie in 6 days, but he did her part in 4 days. But if you know Tyler Perry's history, he writes all of those movies in about a week. I'm not no huge Tyler Perry fan. I only have like 2 or 3 movies that I really like. I don't get into his sitcoms, but I think there was lessons in this movie that people miss. When y'all talking about where was the daddy, she told you, be careful who you have kids with. She said that to Sherry Shepherd. There was different black women in this movie. You had the older black women. You had that stupid millennial bank teller, Anessa, who was just, why we still sitting here? Can't we go? Why y'all care about her? You had the professional suburban in Sherry Shepherd, and you had this broken woman. We could even throw the white woman in there who was sort of trying to save Taraji, but at the same token, she was going to save that other cop. This movie was so layered. Like, there's so many other things to be looking at rather than the superficial stuff.
No, sis. I think the superficial stuff came in at the end of the conversation of what we talked about of the important stuff. I think when I brought up, and I'm not the only one that said, well, where's the father? Is that a shank at the woman? Because I say, as a man, I say, well, where's the daddy at? Where's the family? Where's his family at? That's a shank at the man. Do you see what I'm saying? It's
and it is, but it's real life. Sometimes they're just absent and you don't know, and sometimes people just don't tell their business. Maybe because the mama don't know, or it just don't even matter.
No, it does matter, because at certain
it doesn't when she's doing it all by herself and she's not asking for help.
Okay, but if we don't question where our men are in our women's lives, if the man ain't gonna question it and say something out loud, then it's never gonna get dealt with. But I think
but you can't make a man be there that don't want to be there.
Okay, but what we can do is educate the men that are not there and set examples of, okay, we're gonna hold men like that accountable. And
she educated the women and said, be careful who you have kids with.
She educated the woman, but what about the men? Who's gonna educate the man, sis? Who's gonna tell the man, like, don't leave our sisters out here like this? She's talking to the women, like you just said. I'm talking to the men. Don't you think that's fair?
If his father was there, he could have told him, but if his father wasn't there, he ain't gonna never know no better, because it's a perpetual cycle.
Exactly. And at some point, someone has to end that cycle. And if it's not gonna be the village to end the cycle, then it's never gonna get done.
She didn't have a village.
She didn't.
That's the whole point of the story.
And that's another good point. If you don't have a village, then at certain points we got to start saying, where is the village? So now, is that a knock on everybody else, or is that just talking real? Like how we grew up. You couldn't walk in the neighborhood and just do what you wanted to do and no eyes were on you. See what I'm saying?
You and I grew up in the Faye. We had villages, right?
That's my point.
Villages down in the West End.
That's my point.
If you looked at the outside of the circle, nobody cared.
And we gotta bring that to the attention.
Who was an asshole, didn't even extend her enough grace to go to her kids' school to see what was wrong. Like, nobody cared until they sat down and they all started looking at the live and heard what was really going on. My husband almost turned this movie off. He walked away because he wasn't going to turn it off because I was watching it. He almost walked away because he was like, man, this is crazy. This all can't happen in a day. And at the end of the movie, when he found out that it was all psychosis, I said, this actually could happen in a day. I said, because if you don't get your check, you can't pay your rent, your child can't eat. I said, it's all like a domino effect. That's the reality of it. And if you haven't lived it, you're kind of out of touch.
I think your husband was where most men, I'm going to say where most men were, who kind of think a little bit different, because he's not the type of man that's absent from this woman's life. See what I'm saying? That's why he couldn't It's not that he couldn't relate. He just was. Did he not say exactly what I told you that I said at the beginning?
You can't relate as a man if you don't carry the burdens that women do and
I
carry that
understand
S
that.
on your chest. Your focus is somewhere else.
No. I understand that, sis. But I also
there's a whole lot that goes into family besides being a provider.
I understand that. But what I'm saying to you is, what was his biggest reason of not wanting that he wanted to turn it off? If you could just put it down in a nutshell, what was his reason of wanting to just get up and turn it off?
Because he, like I said, because when whoever said the first 9 minutes, it was like her whole day was already set. He didn't understand that until the end, that half of it was in her head. Like it really didn't even happen. And you got it out. He was just like, oh, this is unrealistic. All this happening.
Because this, sis, you got to let Tyler didn't. Your husband is on path of what most men were on. If we didn't understand that this was all, see, I'm trying to say this, sis, because I told people I wasn't going to spoil the movie. But if we don't understand at the beginning that all this is not happening in real time, like it is being portrayed in the movie, we don't get it until the end. So you don't give the movie a chance. Because number one, you're not going to go to work and not get your check and then come home and your shit is sitting outside by the landlord, because that's an illegal eviction. Some people look at things technical like that, but we didn't know that it wasn't real. I'm sorry if I spoiled the movie, but I'm just
they had a weekend to watch the movie. Sorry, but not sorry.
I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody talking about it. We ain't giving no spoilers. Everybody talking about they heard it by now.
But what I'm saying is, your husband is like where I was with it. We know that some of this shit is just not realistic. That's why it was an imaginary story. We understand the breaking points as well. We understand that. Okay. But at the same time, how long was the movie? 2 hours, maybe?
It was probably an hour and a half. But I tell you what, at the end, when I had to explain it was a whole psychosis trip, he got it.
Right. Exactly. It took, it was an hour and a half, and in an hour and a half movie, an hour and 20 minutes was the shit that we just didn't know that this wasn't even real. So I think it was brilliantly written. Okay, maybe so, but it was rushed because there was ways of laying out those problems that she was running into. There was ways of laying it out where it would be a little bit more understandable.
So you wanted the backstory?
No, not necessarily the backstory, but you need some substance to the point. If you're just going to make the point, sometimes you ever tried to explain something to somebody and you've been going through it for a long time and they new to it, and then you just be like, you don't understand why they don't get what you're saying, because they have no backstory to what you're talking about. They have no substance to what you're talking about. It's like nobody believes that all of that shit can happen in one day. It was unbelievable, but we didn't know.
All this shit can happen in a month if your check is $512 a week. Let's start there.
Let's say that it all can happen in a month. That ain't what it was set out to be. It was all in 20. It was.
Well, he wasn't gonna make a 3-hour movie, Wyatt. He just couldn't do it.
I'm not saying that, sis. I'm saying that he shoved. Basically, look, when the guy let her off the job to go deal with her child, which he did, he said, you got 30 minutes. Now that's not realistic. You can't go to your school. You can't. I don't care if the school across the street. You can't.
But you got some bosses that would demand that of you. That's the reality. Well, you got 30 minutes to come back here.
Yeah, okay, maybe so. But that to some of us, and then you're gone for 2 hours and you then went through all this other stuff, and now the store getting robbed. You shoot. You getting accused of setting up. I see all that shit happening, but there's still too much can happen. It's almost like a record. When you doing a record, you never start the record off big. You move into the big. You got to gradually get into the big part of the record, the music. You can't just start a Beyonce song out with the hook and the strongest break of you can't do that. And I think what happened is the movie started out too fast and it stayed on a fast track and it didn't really let the story breathe. It was a good story. I just think it was laid out poorly.
But the irony is if the movie started out slow we wouldn't be talking about it today because y'all be, oh, it was boring,
No,
it was
not
slow, I
necessarily.
just couldn't stick
Not
with it.
necessarily.
Now, there was somebody in your audience scrolling that said too much in 9 minutes. I don't know if they finished it or not. But I mean, the flip side is if it started out too slow, it would be a failure today. So we have to pick our poison.
Well,
I'm not going to stay on here because I know other people want to call.
Okay, sis. All right, I'll talk to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Talk to you. Bye-bye. Thanks for engaging with us, Tracy. I get it. You know, I don't think this is one of them situations where damn if I do, damn if I don't. I don't think this is a situation where if it started out slow, then everybody would say it was too slow and they would have been like, oh, fuck that movie. No, I think if it was well written and laid out properly, that we would be saying we love it or we don't like it. I think that you can mess up something by giving too much at the beginning. You want things to kind of grow into its, you want it to grow into space. You know, it's like I said, I don't know anybody that does something that's waiting for moments where you put, like in a rap song, in a rap battle, you don't throw your best bars out first. You might give a good bar so people will pay attention. And then in the middle, you want to start taking over the battle. And then at the end, you close the door with some fire. And I think what happened is the beginning was a little too rushed. That don't take anything away from it. Like I told you, you have to have been in these conditions or lived a certain kind of way to love it right away. You know, there's going to be some people that have never lived our life. And I'm going to put myself in there like us, because, yeah, we grew up poor and certain things. Thank God my mother, like I said, thank God my mother never had the meltdown or the blowout, or not that I was aware of. She might have kept it away from me very well, but she didn't have that meltdown or that mental illness break that caused Taraji P. Henton's character to do that. Thank God for that. But there's a lot of people that this movie is not going to resonate with. A lot of people that won't be able to understand this movie. They won't even get it because they don't understand. They've never lived any part of that. And I'm just saying that if it would have been written out, if it would have been drawn out and, you know, stretched out a little bit, I think more people would have been able to relate to what was really going on. But I just don't. I thank God for Taraji P. Henson. She saved it. I mean, just because a movie was shot in 4 days or 6 days or whatever, don't mean it ain't gonna be good. But Tracy came in with a different kind of energy when she said we were attacking the wardrobe. I think that wardrobe and visual is very important in movies. I just think that it's important in movies. Maybe it's just me being a little too technical, but I think that it's important that you know, wardrobe and other little things are important. I think good acting, you know, good acting is very important. Bad acting can take away from a movie. A person that's not believable, or if you don't look believable, could take away from a storyline. Let me go back to the phone lines. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, man? That's how you doing?
Hey, so how you doing, brother? Good to hear from you.
I'm pleasant per usual. You're talking about this movie. I have not seen it.
You haven't?
I have no intention of seeing it because I'm tired. Tyler Perry doesn't do anything for me as a film writer, film director. There'll be no real, you know, cinematic aspects of movie telling and, you know, movie making in his movies. That's why he's able to rush a movie out in 6 days and you know, black folks going crazy.
My bad. Hey,
over
can you say that last part again, bro? You cut out on me. You said that's why he was before you said that's why he could put that movie out. That's why
he's able to rush a movie out in 6 days and have black people talk about it, you know, as if the world's coming to an end over the weekend.
Okay.
You know, we don't expect much out of him.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we don't expect. We don't require anything out of him.
I do.
Okay, you're one of the few of us that do. Everybody, you know, everybody else just, you know, just wants him to put a movie out there on, you know, for black folks. He'll put in one of your favorite black actors or actresses in it, like he's done this one. Taraji P. Henson. He bring back an old black folk, Sinbad, you know, from a previous generation, just like he did with Jeffrey from the Cosby Show. I mean, there's nothing spectacular about his movies at all. He just got the bread to put them on and say, "I did this." You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you. I just think that I hear you, and I think you make some valid points. I didn't look at it that way, but you just said something that I was kind of getting to earlier in my conversation when I said, when we have a billionaire who has his own studio, I expect quality. I expect, if you're going to sell to us, don't do it any different than you would if you was going for the white dollar or the Asian dollar or anything like that. Do you understand where I'm coming from with that? Like, don't just put some shit together and send it out there to us to appreciate because you were able to do it. I expect the uniforms of the police officers to fit. I expect people to be dressed a certain way. I expect the acting to be good. I expect you to give opportunity to people that deserve it. You know what I mean? There's actors and actresses out there that's very good, and they may not get any other shot anywhere else, but can act. You know what I mean? They can do it.
Right.
All I'm saying to you is, let's not be critical to those that are maybe a little critical to a project. I mean, I spent my money for Netflix just like you did, and I deserve what I deserve. I look for what I want for my money, and you get what you want out of your money. And for us to be a little angry or going back and forth with each other like you were talking about, you know, I think entertainment and things like that are meant for those. I think that's what it's put in place for us to enjoy, be critical of, have conversations about. I understand all of that. But some people interpret things totally different. And then when their interpretation might be a little bit more serious than others of a project. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in my case, I ran it down for what I got out of it. And then I gave my little small critiques of what could have made it better. And don't take my critiques and think that I didn't get the movie. I understood every aspect of it, every layer of it. I understood in about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes into the movie. It shouldn't take me that long to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I get this movie. I'm good with it. It shouldn't take me that long. I want to be engaged and understand everything out the gate. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just how I watch movies.
When it comes to entertainment, when it comes to Black entertainment, there has been a gradual recession in actual talent and just an actual talent in general. You know, the rappers, they don't rap anymore. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Back in the day, these guys were, the wordplay was incredible. They don't know how to do that anymore. The writing them for a movie, it's terrible. You know, Tyler Perry's made the same movie 12 times.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
Let me give him credit on this one.
Where he's had an alpha male lead character who was running the show.
Let me give him credit on this. Fame, let me give him credit on this movie, Straw. This is a different project than anything he's ever done in my eyes. Okay, and I'm not a Tyler Perry.
It involves a struggling Black woman.
Okay,
yes. His movies are all the same.
Like
that's what I'm saying. Black talent is regressing. You want to be a Black comedian? If you can make 3 minutes, if you can do 3 minutes of white folks, add 5 minutes of your sexual drive and 5 minutes of growing up broke, you will be a superstar. It's the same template. Everything's the same.
Well,
these movies that these Negroes making about toxic shit, struggling Black women, all that shit.
Well, let me ask you.
Every movie she does, she plays the same person, except for the one time, the NASA joint, Hidden Figures. Other than that, she plays the same person in every movie.
Okay, I'll give you some of that. I'll say that you may be. I kind of said the same thing, that she's the struggling Black woman with the cry, and she does that really well. But my thing is she resonates. She's relatable to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of women who have gone through the roles that she played. That was their real life. So I think what Tyler Perry has done has hit his niche of what people want to see out of him, and that's how he eat. That's how he's been able to accomplish what he's accomplished.
He's able to do Medea, all those movies, because down south, they like that church scene, that down south country rural scene where they're not really in the city, but they're in the south. Based on the setting and stuff, and the way that the characters are talking and behave.
Yeah,
they like that stuff. That's what Spike got at him about. Like, man, this shit whack.
Fame, let me ask you a question, bro. Remember the movie Friday that Ice Cube put out?
Yeah.
You remember the budget? I know you don't know the numbers, but those guys get paid absolutely hardly nothing. I think
like $5,000 each.
Yeah, it was some real low number. And they shot it outside in Compton and, in California. And they shot the movie in the same type of time frame that you're looking at a movie by a guy who has who's a billionaire and who has a studio larger than Hollywood studio itself. The Tyler Perry studio is the largest movie studio in the country. And he shot this movie in the same time frame 30 years later of Friday. He's shooting it in a matter of days. Bro, that says a lot to me. Like, it says to me that you're not really putting forth a lot of effort in putting excellence out there. Maybe the storyline might be good for you.
It shows he don't respect his audience. I can throw anything out there to you niggas and you'll love it. And that's true. There's no gray area with Tyler Perry.
How do you shoot a movie like
that? The people that love him. He has that certain demographic. Black women of a certain demographic and age, kind of like the last caller. And then, he has people like me, alpha males that don't fuck with him like that because everything he does has an agenda. Something about, alpha men.
And like you heard Tracy, that was the last caller. That was Tracy. We were talking and I don't think it's superficial to talk like what we were talking about the clothing and stuff like that, because I think the clothing and the wardrobe, the wardrobe plays a part in the acting and the actor as well. I think that's all relevant. But to say that we shouldn't be worried about, or why are we wondering where the man is? I mean, maybe that's not to the point that you're making, but for somebody being a man, I think he's doing a disservice to not being in that child's life. And I do think that's relevant in a movie like this. Like, this woman was out there all by herself. Are we ever going to talk about why she was out there by herself, why she didn't have family on her side? Where was the dude? Where was the dude's family? Where was the village? I mean, yes, people like this exist, but why do they exist, bro? If we don't ask the question of where these people were, then the subject of why they've been in, why they're in this position. If he tells why they existed,
he'll lose all his fan base. Remember, his fan base is women. If he tells the truth, he's gonna lose all those women. That some of you are goddamn assholes, and people just get fed up with you. That's why you're single. Yeah, but you don't like to talk about that. You personally don't like to accept that.
Well, no. I can have that conversation, brother. I just, it's just certain things. Maybe you and I have that conversation on a different plate. Like, I say it different than you do, but you say it in a way like the woman is the asshole and that's just point blank. That's why the reason is why it is. I say it where it's probably a combination of women can be bad, men can be bad. And when those type of things happen, the woman ends up with the bigger burden of not just the problem she's in with the guy. Now she has to take on the duties that the guy just forfeited. He just don't have anything to do with her. And now we want to make it all about what the woman did to be in that condition versus what part the man may have played. And it worked both ways though, Fame. I don't think every kid out here that's raised by a mother is in that situation because he had a bad dad. I don't think that at all. I just think in most cases it's like that. I'm just being honest. I think in most cases men tend to just, because it's all, look, Fame, how I know this is true on my side is most men that run out on women and have multiple kids, it took multiple women. That same man has done that same thing with several different women. And in most cases, you'll see more men have kids with more women than women have with different men. You see what I'm saying? So
you mean tell me in your life you've only met one person that when you met them you was like, I can't fuck with them no more. There's only been one person in your life like that.
Say it again.
You mean tell me in your lifetime, in 55 plus years, you've only met one person where you was like, after you met them, after a while, you was like, I don't feel like fucking with them
no more. No, I've met several people like that.
All right, well, why can't these fathers do that? They've met several women where they was just like, I just don't feel like fucking with you.
But it has nothing to do. Okay, you have every right to feel that way, but why create a whole situation, a whole condition with this woman, and then
sometimes you didn't try to create a family. You just wanted some practice.
No, bro, come on. You playing.
I'm just speaking real shit.
No, I don't know anybody that's
have this conversation.
What do you mean?
You don't want to have this conversation because it's going to require real talking, real conversation. There's a certain demographic. It's like that Corey Holcomb video. There's a certain demographic of Black women, in particularly, that were led astray and ran amok by their elders and generations before them, that led them and the Democratic Party. You know, because some of that shit you be spitting, Wyatt, is Democratic shit. Democratic Party conditioning to make you think that the Black man has done you wrong.
I know exactly what it is. I have no hidden agenda. I say what it is. But at the same,
and some of these women, let me finish this thought.
Go ahead.
Some of these women, they were led astray by their elders into thinking that it's okay for you to be unkind, ungracious, evil, aggressive, talking shit to people, things like that, because you're a Black woman and that's just what y'all about. No, that's not a good characteristic. And like that Corey Holcomb video says, now it's time for you to now what do you say? The chickens come home to roost. Because now y'all in y'all 60s, 50s, and 40s, and you're kind of out there on your own because your ex don't want to fuck with you because you're an asshole. You raised your son wrong, and you raised your daughter wrong. See,
I don't like that type of shit.
I'm not saying all of you or any of you. I'm just
you're repeating what he said.
The video. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, my bad. I was drinking. Yeah, I get that. All I'm saying to you is, here's what I think people that have platforms need to take in consideration when they speak. I think we got to do a better job. I focus on this. I try to explain to the people that listen to my platform. It's not a whole lot of us, but I try to explain this is how I feel because of what I've been through. This is how I've been raised, and this is what I've seen. This is my perspective comes from this. I try to give you an idea of why I have why I feel the way I feel in my mind. And the reason why I do that is because the way I deal with things, the way I see things may not be for you, Fame. It may not be for Tracy Dillingham. It may not be for other people because we all have experienced different stuff. We may have walked through some of the same fires, but stepped on different coals. You know what I'm saying? We all have been through certain things, but we may have dealt with it different because when we got to where we were going, there was different stuff in front of us than others. All right. And so I try to make it very clear. Holcomb, he say some real wild shit. And that might be from his experiences. All right. That might be from the things that he's seen growing up and how women have treated him and how his daddy was treated by women and what his daddy taught him or his mother taught him about women. I don't know. I'm not saying that everything he says is wrong, but there's also a right way to say the right thing. You can say the right thing the wrong way. I do it. Wait a minute, hold on, Fame. Let me say this last thing and you can have the floor, I promise. I do this all the time. I say the right thing the wrong way to certain people all the time. That's why they'll read somebody else's story online or they'll listen to a newcomer on Facebook and it's shit I talked about 3 years ago and they'll pay every attention and hit hearts and love it and get 10,000 views. And it's the same shit I've been talking about over here forever. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And if you are the messenger and people don't really want to hear that from you, then they don't engage. But
yeah, it is how you say it. But again, when you're talking to adults, you can use adult language, adult themes, adult tropes. When you're talking to children, you have to taper what you say. We're not talking to children.
No, that's not necessarily true, bro. Hold on.
In the world, we're talking about the only community in the world that is led by women, but yet we're always at the bottom of the U.S. Do you not notice any correlation between the two?
Excuse me. You say led by women. Who's led by women? Our community? Who's
the
the
black
leaders?
Community.
Who's the leaders?
The black community.
Who's the leaders of the black community?
Is very
I'm just
feminized.
curious. Help me out. Help me out. Who's the leaders of the black community? I don't think there's a wrong answer. I just
obviously ain't no man because I should have had a man pop up immediately.
Okay. Well, I mean, it all depends on what you consider. See,
no country in look, them other countries, we're up here trying to elect women, all this to be president. A woman can't be president of the United States. You might have the qualifications and the mental fitness, but that just doesn't look good to the rest of the world. That a superpower is led by a woman. South Korea had that man's sister was president for 10 minutes, and they said, no, Il Jong-il, he'll be back. He's fine. She ain't president. They changed that shit real quick. But the real thing I want to talk to you about was you talking about the elderly and people not, respecting their the elderly or not. These are the same elders that called you a punk growing up, that beat you, that molested your sister, made you do sexual things before you were ready at 10 years old, and now you're supposed to take care of these elders? I don't think so. Get your sick ass, talk that shit now, baby, while you fucked up. Oh, you can't do it.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Hold on, because I hear you. But I promise you can finish. But that's what I'm talking about right there. When you could say something right, but say it the wrong way. I get what you're saying, but that's such the wrong way of saying it. I mean, I'm just being honest. You're right. There were some abusive.
Like what I'm saying.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Remember, Wyatt, I am the camera. I'm not trying to sell you a camera. I'm just trying to let you see the bigger picture.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. But that's not the reason why all of our relationships fall apart with our elders. It's not because they whooped us with switches. It's not because of, they molested our kids and shit like that. That's not the majority of the reason why some of these elderlies are staying in the home by themselves.
Why?
Well,
why the kids ain't? Why the adult children ain't coming to fuck with them?
Well, there's several
Are you in a nursing home alone?
And to be honest with you, the first thing that comes up to my mind is my mother-in-law had a neighbor who lived directly across the street from her over in Westwood. And just what you described is what they went through. The brother and the sister went through. And that's why the mom died in the house alone. And the dad did too, because they were raised, they had, a lot of tragic in their life when they were raised. The arguing, the fighting, the drinking, the substance abuse, all that was going on in that house. And those kids, when they moved out, they moved away. They didn't move out of the house. They moved away from all of that. And then they never really came back to check on the family and this and this and that. The house gets sold and, there's no family put together. So yes, I see what you're saying. But in all cases, that's not the case in all cases. There's some people some people's kids die before they do. And they end up in them homes and they have nobody.
When you call onto these records, I can't speak for everybody. I'm just giving you reasons.
Yeah, but the way you said it,
blowing up the negatives.
I know, but
so
I'm
that
saying
people can see the bigger picture.
I hear you, bro, but I'm just saying there's so many different reasons why certain things happen. It can happen. The same thing can happen to you and I today, and it could be for a whole different reason. Something can happen to you and I today, Fame, and we get the same outcome, but it happened to us for different reasons. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we could be walking down the street, both get shot, different neighborhoods. I got shot because I've been out here talking foul. You got shot because a stray bullet hit you. Same outcome. We both died. All right. The bottom line is we can go through tragedies and face the same pains, but we got there in different paths. So just because these people are in some of these in these old folks' homes or assisted livings, it's not because they were bad to their family if they don't have family attached to them. It could be for a whole lot of different. No, it don't.
Yes,
it could be for other reasons.
You were shitty to somebody.
No, that's not true because
there's people are reasonable.
No, I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons. Let me tell you one of the major reasons.
I don't even know the elders in this group. You know who you are. I don't mean to insult you if I mentioned your name, but it's because I obviously know you're an elder. But like Miss Pat, what's that light skinned lady? Alicia's mother name. Miss Burge. These people are obviously elders. If they were sick, I would go see them because they've never done nothing to me. People are reasonable. If you're generally a good person, people will come fuck with you. But if you beat the hell, out of me and my brothers and my sisters, you're the uncle that molested my sister, I might come and see you. Fuck you.
Right.
I might not
and
even show up at your
might
funeral.
and that might be in certain cases, and it may be there may be some truth to that. We know those things happen.
I
But at
gotta take this call, Wyatt. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'll holler at you, man.
All right, brother.
Hey, everybody, peace out. Oh,
He had to get that little bark in or howl in. Thanks for engaging with his fame. I understand what he's saying, but that's not the case in all cases. It's not even like, I mean, you have to be able to understand a person before you just say that they're not being visited on a regular basis because they were an asshole the whole time they were alive. Their kids could have died. I'm gonna tell you what I think personally. In a lot of cases, I think the way the world has changed with how a lot of kids graduate, they get out of school and they start their own life and they move off to another city. They don't move down the street from mommy anymore. Remember when the kids back in the day would leave and they get an apartment in the same neighborhood, and mama would be like, "Hey, bring me some sugar. Y'all going to Kroger's? Yeah, bring this is what I need," and blah blah blah. And you stop and get some groceries, and you buy your mama and them something, and drop it off at the house on your way home, which is in the same neighborhood, right around the corner, 3 blocks down to the left. Shit like that. Those days are gone. It's even further. They're graduating school, getting jobs, being relocated to different cities. And it's not that you had a bad relationship with your parent or parents. It's just that things get hectic in your life. You trying to make it. You trying to get past go and collect your $200. You in Boston, Massachusetts trying to make shit happen, and you're not coming home to Orlando to see your mama every day or once a week or once a month. You're not doing that. And now you have kids, and your kids have a situation. And now y'all just calling granny once a week. And then that goes down to I graduated or I got my birthday, and y'all talking, and the talking and the engagement gets minimum. And I think over the decades, you can go all the way back to families don't even sit at the same table anymore to break bread. We used to eat at the dinner table every day when I grew up. My mom would cook, my granny would cook, my uncle, myself. We would all sit at the table and eat as a family every day. So we could families start separating when those type of things start going away. The family unity start going away. And then, of course, if mama has the house, they barely going to take care of the house. Barely going to take care of cutting the grass and doing the painting and redoing the house. Do you know how much property is lost by our community? Us, for the families not going by taking care of mama's place, not taking care of it, letting it sit dormant. Then mama died and it's so backed up and built up. All we can do is sell it to a little small, developer. Anybody that'll give us $25,000 for the house, okay. And then we wonder how the hell that area end up developing the way it did, and now they getting $200,000, $250,000 for those houses over in Westwood and shit. Man, that's bullshit. They only gave me $42,000 for it. That's some bullshit. Well, wait a minute. If you would have stayed in mama life, if you would have been up on her, you in Boston and all that old shit, if you would have came back or if you would have kept up with mom, you probably would have been in a much better equitable situation. And this is just another, like Fame called in and he said one particular situation of how they end up in these homes. I'm giving you another one. And all I'm saying to you is the separation, not separation, but the like the distancing of the family. Like I know people, we love each other, family members, but we don't fuck with each other like that no more. I grew up in a family where mama, dad, there she goes. I'm gonna read some of her stuff. I grew up in a family where, man, we was together on all the holidays, damn it, and came through on birthdays. Like on the 4th of July, I already knew what it was. Everybody knew what they had to bring. My Aunt Stell brought the beans. My cousin Minnie had the beer. I had to bring a 2-liter. You know what I'm saying? I brought the ice 2-liter. Like we grew up together on 4th of July. We all knew we was gonna be there. Christmas, we all knew we gonna play cards, we gonna do all that shit. People don't do that often anymore. And that's the beginning of the end of the, I don't want to say the unity, but it is somewhat unity, because when you're unified like that, like when my great grandmother died, that was the time when we was all eating at the same dinner table. That's how long ago it was. So when she died, it was a whole different family oriented, put things together. We made sure she grew up. Like my great grandmother was in Stanley Row in Cincinnati. She when she passed, she lived in Stanley Row. As my aunts, her sisters, all lived in Stanley Row. So we did our dinners and we did everything. I don't care if it was in Stanley Row, we did our Stanley Row dinners. If it was at Granny House, we did our dinners. And when stuff like that tends to break apart because we all too busy, we drop the ball in other areas. So this little thing about, you know, I hear what Fame is saying, but to say that the elderly are sitting in these elderly homes or assistant living homes by themselves because they was assholes to the family, nah, I'm a bet this. I'm gonna bet this. I'll bet this. Okay, $1 to a donut. Most families just forgot about their elderly, more so than the elderly was assholes to the young folks. No, it wasn't being an asshole. Some of us would call it discipline and holding us accountable. That's what it was. Some of these kids today could use some of them asshole ass old people then. All right, because not only did we get away from being what our elders were, we didn't got away from disciplining this new generation of what we call badass kids. No, the people that you distance yourself from, who was our best disciplinarians, that's why we have lack of discipline now, because we didn't adopt what they was giving us. Maybe in some cases it was hard. I told y'all, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't whoop my children. I got girls, 2 girls, might be different. Girls wild too, don't think I don't know that. But I don't see myself putting my hands on a girl because of how I was raised and the shit I've seen in my life. So maybe that play a big part in it. But at the same time, my mother beat the shit out of me. My grandmother whooped me a few times. At the same time, I grew up understanding that that's not necessary. But do I hate my mother because I got spankings? No, it was necessary. Do I hate my grandmother for spanking me? No, it was necessary. Ain't nobody just beat my ass for no reason at all. I didn't grow up like that. But now let's just look at how when we stop doing what the elderlies in our life did to us, do you think that we're suffering still to this day because we have not adopted some of their ways? We're so privileged and we have so much more, and we have so much more opportunity. We don't go through half the shit the older people in our life went through back in the day. We don't go through a fraction of it. We talk about it. But we ain't gone through none of that shit. But yet we want to say that they were bad, they were harsh. They did rough shit to us, and that's why they sitting in old folks' homes by themselves. Nah. You know what? If I could go back a little bit, and if I had my 2 daughters like I do now, and if I was to, if my grandmother, their great grandmother was alive, I wouldn't have a problem putting down my grandmother or my mother to be the person that raised my kids when they were babies or young, if something was to happen to me and my wife, because I would be okay with how my elderlies raised and disciplined me and us, our age group. I wouldn't have no problem with it at all. Maybe they would have a lot more respect than some of these young folks have today, because you're not born respecting people. You're taught how to respect people. And we're not sitting at the table and all that anymore. And all that family unity is going out of the window. It seemed like the only time we want to get together is when some shit go down. Now we want to loke up when it's time to fight, when it's time to argue, when it's time to be on the same side because we have differences with someone else. Now we all want to get together. Do we get together like we used to back in the day just because we love each other? Or do we have to be in some type of barn bar, some bullshit in order to call my cousin, like, hey man, these motherfuckers over here tripping, man. What time you gonna be here? I got a buddy of mine, the same buddy that Fame Rothstein used to get on me about. He's a principal at a school, and this guy lost his mother 10 years ago. And it's a family of 6 boys, all boys, no girls, 6 boys. He's just like my wife. They're all 6 girls. This man and his family, because of his mother's wishes, who raised 6 boys with her and her husband, they had that. Their promise to her, she made them make a promise that their family will always stick together. And every Sunday, all 6 of those boys of hers, including my partner, my friend of mine, would bring their families to the house and eat dinner every Sunday for the rest of their life. And they're living that. For the last 5 years, I've known him for about 5 years, 6 years now. For the last 5, 6 years that I've known this guy, every Sunday you can't reach him on a Sunday because he's with the family. He's with his brothers and their families. And that keeps a unity. So whenever they have an elderly that's going off to an old folks home or, assisted living, they're all part of the decision. They're all part of the checking in and making sure the person is okay. They're not just concerned about their own immediate family, because guess who their immediate family is? Everybody. They stayed immediate family. They adopted each other. They stay in touch. They stay in each other's lives. And it's funny because we want to pretend that that's what's going on, but it's not. We want to pretend that don't have anything to do with these kids is out here shooting and robbing and fighting each other. And man, come on, y'all see all these videos. Y'all see these videos. They dropping them in every chat group. They're putting them on social media. Someone sent me one the other day, and it was some girls up there fighting in the Faye. In the Faye apartment. Same place, Crystal. Same spot. She'll know what I'm talking about. They up there fighting in the Faye apartments and shit, ripping each other's clothes off. Big girl running through them girls, just beating the shit out of them. And I'm saying to myself, there's a lot that I'm saying to myself. I don't have to say it out loud. But yeah, we had our moments in the Faye, but we wasn't all outside barefoot, little bitty ass shorts on and a shirt ready to get it ripped off, and everybody gonna fight in the middle of the street. And we had cameras in the air, and this shit is going on social media, and this is the cool shit to do. I see no love there. I see no love. I see nothing but destruction. And we want to act like that shit don't really happen. Or we worried about, well, that's what they do. Don't nobody talk about what the white people do. Do you like black people at all? I love us. I love us so much that I'll bring up how ridiculous it is to not say anything. Y'all get fooled by people that'll come in your face and tell you that crime is down. They only breaking in cars to look for guns, and they ain't taking nothing else. Meanwhile, you got sisters. Didn't 2 people just get shot in Cincinnati just this morning? Like at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning? Up, and they called it English Woods. English Woods ain't been up there in 10 years. How long English Woods been gone? But right across the street in English Woods, those apartment complexes, they done painted them white. I seen it on the news. 2 people got shot. 1 already died in that situation at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock this morning. They called it English Woods. And then they subtly say things like, well, the world is, see, if it wasn't for these guns, they had guns when we was little. They had guns when we was sitting at the dinner table with our families. It's just some shit that we wasn't even thinking of because we had other things on our mind. I was afraid to let my grandmother down. I didn't want to be out in the streets and doing things because my mama might have to come get me. I was afraid of that. Or I didn't want my mother, I didn't want to let her down. We don't even have that today. Right now, what I'm saying, did y'all see the video that I sent in Wyatt Messenger group? Who seen that one that I sent with a little young girl? Young, she wasn't that young. She's young to me. She's a kid. She go to another person who she's beefing with. I should show it, but I'm not going to show it on here because this one travels, unlike in the Messenger group, unless somebody steals it or something. But She go knock on this mother's door, on an op's door, and the mother answer the door. She grabs the mother by her shirt. Somebody's mama. Grab them by the shirt and say, "You see this? This your mama, right?" She's talking to the camera. This your mama, right? This your mama, right? And she's smacking the shit out of her. This your mom. Stop playing with me. I know where you live. Smacking the shit out of this girl's mama or whoever. What? So you're gonna go to your op's mother's house, grab them, and say to the camera so everybody can see it on live that I'm at your spot and I'm smacking the shit out of your mama in broad daylight. Let's not talk about the one that we just seen in Wyatt Messenger group where the young lady, there's a young man and his mama's in the door frame. We just seen that one. That was in there a couple days ago, right? And he's out there arguing with the police. Police deep, all cops out there in front. Somebody said, Denise Davis says, and that young lady is no longer alive. Some things are not to be entertained. Exactly. Fame just followed up with that and said, that video is old. That girl was found shot to death 16 times like a week later. Isn't that crazy? I mean, what do you expect what do you think gonna happen to somebody that go knock on somebody's door, grab somebody's mama, and start slapping her on social media? There's some people that have just put her in the ground just to be, just to be a score. They keeping score. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. What about the one with the son out there arguing with the police? This is what I was talking about. Arguing with the police because this girl is calling the police on him because she's trying to steal the custody. She's trying to steal the custody of the little girl, his daughter. But yet, listen to the man. It's in the Wyatt Live Messenger group. I know a lot of y'all put things in there, and there's a lot of shit in there. But generally, when I put one in there, it's something that I'm either going to discuss on the show or it's something that I've already discussed. Well, anyway, this is a grown-ass man who's claiming to be the man of the house. He's grown. This guy, he's a grown. All right, he's far from a child mentality. But he's bitching and complaining at the police about how he ain't going to jail because he ain't did what they said that the warrant, he didn't have a warrant, but the accusations. So he's saying, I ain't going to jail. I ain't do nothing. But wait a minute. When you go at the police like that, you're amping it up. You're making it worse. And it don't help that your mama is standing in the doorway with you because you live with your mama and you claim that you the man of the house. You the man of the house. This is my house. I'm the king. Bruh. You're acting like your mother raised you. You're too emotional with these police officers. Choices, folks. Choices. All right. My point is this. Preston said that video was old. My point is this. It wasn't back in my days. It's the shit that they doing these days. Back in my day, robbery boys would rob somebody and tie the mother up and leave them alone. Just leave them. They ain't putting no hands on it. I'm not justifying it, saying it's good or nothing. But that right there was enough to get you killed. Violating somebody's mother by breaking in somebody's house, tying the mother up, threatening the mother, some shit like that, because you after him. That was a no-no. So yeah, I expect somebody to put hands on somebody's mama on video and all that old shit to be gone. I expect that to happen. Cats was doing that. If you just robbed the place and tie the mama up, they gonna kill you for doing that. But yeah, they're calling this killing from last night, and they saying it was English Woods. Did you hear? In the Wyatt Live Messenger group, I did this one also. Let me make sure I had no call. Okay. I had a call. It's gone. I put a post in there. It's not really a post. I copied a post and put it in the Wyatt Live Messenger group. And it was someone talking about the police department not being held accountable. The lady who lost, let me see. The lady that who husband was killed in OTR. And y'all gonna see the difference between white people holding your city council responsible in Cincinnati versus black people. See, black people don't really hold your city council. Y'all don't hold them to the fire. It's almost like if you say something, you're going against the grain and you don't want to be that person that steps out and say something. It's a little too sensitive for some people. But watch what happens when the crime start hitting the OTR white residents and they start holding the judges, the city council, and the police department accountable. You're going to see a different outcome. Do you understand what I'm saying, Tracy? You know what I'm talking about. She says she deserves answers. We deserve answers because Wyatt been sitting here telling y'all they letting people out of jail and they dropping them back in the same neighborhoods to kill your black ass. And you look, they look at me and they say, "Oh man, shit, you don't know. Oh, you hate black people. You always talking about black people." This, I'm telling you what's going on. Why do you think I had that questionnaire with the police chief? I had already been doing the show for 3 years before I did that interview, if you want to call it an interview. I've been telling you that what they do is they make it accessible for these criminals to get out of jail. Like I wouldn't know. You don't think I know the residual? You don't think I know? You don't think it's foolish when I see certain people come talk to the radio? I just be sitting back and y'all love these folks. And I'll be like, boy, you believe that? You actually believe what they saying? And you think that's a come up, or they got bars because they bring city officials or city council or people that you really, bro, don't you know that's part of the play? And the reason I brought up the 18-year-old boy that got arrested in Westwood, caught a gun case. They let him out on an OR bond. He gets dropped off back in Westwood, gets into a shootout, and they end up shooting an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 12-year-old. The 8-year-old will never be the same. In a wheelchair for life. On one of them breathing life support situations. Why would you drop a guy, an 18-year-old, who has no job, no reference, nothing with a family attachment, and then you drop him back off with pending violent charges, and you drop him off in the same neighborhood? Let me tell you what's going to happen. White folks that live in those hazardous neighborhoods now who bought into the OTR development areas, they're not having that shit. And it's funny that it's going to take them to tell you what a black man been trying to tell you, but I'm the coon. I'm not a gyno coon. I'm the one that don't like us. I'm the one that ain't got no important information. I'm the riggedy rack, low volume show. I'm all of that. I'll keep being that. But I'm the one that's going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to convince you, oh, it ain't that bad. Crime going down. It ain't been a shooting in 6 days. It ain't that bad. I'm not going to be the one that's going to sit back and say, man, that's Trump turning this shit up. Shit ain't the same since he been in office. Man, shit been this way since he been in. We've been shooting and killing each other before we was talking about Trump. Before we was talking about Biden or anybody, Kamala Harris, all of them. Shit been what it's been for us. Neighborhood's been the same. Residuals been the same on violence, the whole nine. Stop that bullshit. Stop it. And all y'all doing now is watching your cosigner burn up in LA. You're watching your co-signing that bullshit of immigration. You're watching LA burn right now. That's the United States of Mexico in California right now. Somebody make this shit make sense to me. You ain't got nothing to say that you see some immigrants in the United States waving Mexican flags while fighting the California police, highway patrol, burning the city down. Look, at least when we do it as black folks, we doing it because we're here. We tearing up some shit because of what we tearing it up for. They burning up shit and representing Mexico. Somebody explain to me why this is not a problem. You see that car? That's a Waymo car. That car, this car right here is a Waymo car. Well, not that one. This is one of them self-driving cars. He don't have a USA flag, I want to be an American ass flag. That's some Mexican shit. You okay with that? Make that make sense. He's not saying F ICE because I want to be an American. He's saying F ICE with a Mexican flag up. And you got government officials going to El Salvador. You'll get on a flight to El Salvador, but you won't take a flight to Chicago and hear what black folks got to say about how immigration is hurting their community. Explain that to me. Some of you are choose the devil over Trump. Just so Trump will be wrong, you will make a deal with the devil. I mean, you know what? Devil ain't that bad, but that Trump motherfucker. Now, I know I just blew my whole conversation by saying something like that, like Trump, the greatest person in the world. They all the same to me. They all the same to me. But here's what I don't like. This thing in California, all of a sudden, is a Trump problem on CNN. It's a Trump escalated. No, these people was dropping bomb. They was doing crazy shit for 3 solid days. Watch this. If you want to be an American so bad, why are y'all out there with Mexican flags? If you, God bless America, and want to be an American so bad that you're willing to fight and die for this country, for your rights, what does Mexico have to do with this shit right here? If Mexico, if you're willing to ride with the flag, then do this same shit that y'all doing now, do it in Mexico and see what happens. Why aren't you fighting this hard to make shit right in Mexico? Here's the other one. Explain it. I mean, how does it get to that point? And you know, you got people vouching for this. I don't get it. Here's my thing. Okay, maybe they're cool people. I don't know. I just got one question for you. If they're willing to vouch, if they're holding Mexican flags up in the air like this, why aren't they in Mexico fighting for what they're trying to get here? You representing Mexico when you do this. Those aren't, and let's not say it's just Mexico. There's other flags out there as well. Is that a Ukrainian flag? What's that other flag back in the back on that one? Now, what's crazy about this is CNN and other news people, if you want to call them news people, they're saying that this has been escalated by the administration. So we can't get away from shit being what it really is without the administration, the current administration being held, responsible for this. So the administration went 3 days before they did anything. And now it's because of the administration. Are we serious? Okay. It's just like your politicians have no problem telling you that crime is down in your city. I wonder if those same people will go down to a white radio station and make those same comments. I'm just curious. Or will they get challenged when making comments like that? Like, sir, don't you think that we should do these analysis, break these numbers down a wider span? It's not fair to tell people, since you haven't had a killing this, or haven't had this going on, or you're adjusting the type of, crimes that are happening, they're being knocked down from felonies to misdemeanors, and then you're not reporting them as is. That, don't you think that there should be a little better, a little more better transparency than what we're really describing? They would actually, have something to say. It's just like Hyde Park, being predominantly white in the Cincinnati area, has challenged the city council in the vote of having certain housing and certain development going on in their area. We bitch and complain and go to the radio station and just be mad, and they make moves and they do different things. Why do you think it's so hard? Why do you think they have close to 150? I think it's close to 150 less police officers than what they need in the city of Cincinnati. Nobody wants the job. They don't want to deal with what they have to deal with. They don't want to have to deal with the lack of support system that comes with doing the job. They don't want to deal with that. So there's a whole lot of factors that come in of why your police department is not because they don't get paid well. They make good money. They may not make enough money or enough money to deal with what they deal with. But nationally, they're on the curve of being a pretty good paying police department. I can't count nobody's money. I'm just saying, it's not like there's some small little, town getting Mayberry type of money. No, they make pretty good money for, but if you out here doing extra stuff and doing things and you fighting and doing this and that against and you got all these what are they, these unions and all this and all that. No, I ain't about to go through all that. And then when I'm out here trying to defend myself or save myself, I got to worry if I'm going, no, ain't nobody on that. That's why police are hard to find throughout the country. Ain't no secret whatsoever. Now, here's what's crazy. The LA Police Department was out there getting the brakes beat off their ass out there. Bricks thrown down on them, hit with rocks, all type of shit. But they don't need no help. Bringing in the National Guard is going to escalate it. Wait a minute, hold on. Bringing in the National Guard going to neutralize it. Because if one of those cops shoot one of them people, y'all going to have a whole lot to say about that shit right there. Oh, he ain't had to do that. All he did was hit him with a stick. He got that big ass shield. All he did was hit him with a brick. He ain't have to shoot him. That'll be the conversation. They on top of the bridges, throwing bricks down. And your governor out there saying, oh, it ain't no big deal. We got this under control. Yeah, okay. Okay. Your city got shit under control too. Let's see who gets killed the next couple of nights. That lady who lost her husband in Over the Rhine. See, when white people go through what black people go through, you learn how to deal with shit. It ain't no privilege. It ain't no, well, that's white privilege. They about to send the police through some shit. No, their arguments are different and they stand on it and they solid in who back them up. And you know what? It'll be some of us that'll back them up too. We'll back that lady up. I ain't got no problem with what she's saying. I don't know all what she's saying, but what I've heard, I don't have no problem with it. But what's going to happen is she going to go in there and she's going to pull the curtain back and y'all going to see what that wizard look like. The Wizard of Oz, you're going to see what the wizard look like. All the shit that you listen to and you be believing that they be talking about. Entertainment is expensive. The more we're entertained, the less truth. Entertainment, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't learn a lot out of entertainment. I don't learn a lot. Entertainment is something that cools me down from a hard working day where I've learned a lot that day. Distance myself from things that stress me out. Stressful moments, you learn a lot. But once I wind down and I want to piece myself out with some entertainment, I'm not usually in a mode to be learning shit when I'm being entertained. So be careful what you consider to be entertainment, because it might be dumbing you down. It might be teaching you some shit or keeping you stagnant. Entertainment is not educational for me. All right. Education is education. Not know that like for instance, I guess you could say, what do they call it? Rap lyrics like X-Clan, BDP. I guess you could call that entertainment with education attached. But come on, man. For the most part, 90 percentile of entertainment is just entertainment, and most of it be lies. Most entertainment is lies. Like your rappers and all that shit today. They go buy a bunch of chains and rent a car, lease a car, and do all this old shit. They have this imagery of success, and they getting all this money. And they can't wait to book their next show because that's the only way they can eat. They have no money. Tracy says she's about to set a precedent. That precedent, you're right, sis. That precedent should have been set by us a long time ago, because we are the ones that have been affected more than anybody when that constant criminal mentality, criminal activity has gone on in the 4 or 5 communities, and those communities look like us. Didn't I tell you they don't drop those people off in Mason, Westchester, or anywhere else? They drop them off in the same area that they came from when they got booked. And they have no worry. A judge don't have no worry if they let somebody out like that dude that killed that man in Over the Rhine. He ain't going to Mason to break in somebody's house and stab him. More likely, he didn't cut his ankle bracelet off back in February. You know what the people that live in Over the Rhine who look different than us, you know what they saying now? For my out-of-town people, Over the Rhine is a community in the downtown Cincinnati area. I actually grew up in Over the Rhine. I grew up in downtown, down the street from Over the Rhine, but we played in Over the Rhine. The Boys and Girls Club was in Over the Rhine. I was in Over the Rhine every day of my childhood. Now it's been gentrified. Now it's in an area where people are buying those old buildings that grandma and them couldn't keep up. And they went from selling for $40,000 to now $500,000. Those are real numbers. You don't have to believe me. Go look it up. They were selling them for $40,000, $25,000 20 years ago. Now they worth for $500,000. FC Cincinnati area and all that. This is real. And now you got people who can spend $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 on a condo. And now they're being affected by criminal activity that they can't flush out of there. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to flush it out of there. And how do they flush it out of there? They're not going to be nice about it. They're going to do it the way we should have been doing it. But you know what happens? We so stuck on being the nice guy and don't want to be the one to say nothing. We'll let our own people suffer before we let a few go through what they're supposed to go through. Before we punish and hold people accountable that look like us, we'll make our whole people suffer because we want to make it sound like that we down. Or we got this old bullshit ass thing about, the man got his neck, he got his foot on our neck too much. No, what we need to do is once you start holding accountability for some, the rest will fall in line. And then when they don't fall in line, then they get the same punishment of the knucklehead before them. But what y'all gonna do is y'all gonna make this lady who going through this, who lost her husband. I'm sorry that she lost her husband. She's going to expose all the things that I've been telling you for 3 years. They're not down there just breaking in cars looking for guns. They breaking in cars taking shit. They're not just, you don't hear about the break-ins in the house. You don't hear about it. You don't hear about the knife fights. This man got stabbed in the neck. Oh, let's ban all knives. Let's do a ban on that. See, the same mentality that'll shoot you is the same mentality that'll stab you. It ain't the gun that shot you. It ain't the knife that stabbed you. The gun was used by a mentality. The knife was used by a mentality. Just saying it's guns make it a little easier to shift the blame on the gun owner, shift the blame on the government. Shouldn't be 3-to-1 guns in America. All of that stuff. The blame should be the mentality that wants to use a gun. The failures. You can go all the way back. We can say parents. But if our schools aren't holding our parents accountable, and if our schools aren't raising the bars, here's one for you. I'm going to do a t-shirt on this. You ready? Get ready to write this down. Whoever want to jacket, you jacket. When you have a group of people or a culture that won't raise the bar and set the bar high for their children, then what you're doing is you setting bars in front of your children. You'll be visiting yourself. You'll be visiting your children behind those bars when you don't set the bar high. When you have no standards and you don't hold the schools accountable for your kid not being able to read at proficiency. So what if you a mother raising a son by herself and you see that he's bringing home D's, F's? You still have an obligation to your son to make sure he has to get better educated. Because that's the only way we gonna get up out of here. I am who I am what I am, son. But you don't have to be like me. You have more opportunity, and the opportunity is right there at that elementary school. It's right there at that junior high school. It's right there at that high school. And when you have a system in place that capitalizes only if you're there, they don't capitalize. They have no loss if you fail. All their job is to move you along. In Baltimore, I've said this several times, in Baltimore public schools, you fail one time and it's a mandatory pass the year after. So I could fail the 7th grade, go do the 7th grade, repeat the 7th grade, and I'm going to the 8th grade regardless of what happens the second time through the 7th grade. I might not even be ready for the 8th grade, the second go round, but I'm going. They're top heavy in salaries too, by the way, and they're union driven. Top heavy in salaries, where you got the, what do they call it, superintendent, and it don't matter what color she is, but you can only imagine. Don't matter. Making $600,000 a year plus bonuses. And then Cincinnati gets a sister to come in and want to change things in Cincinnati, holding people accountable. Teachers don't like her, so now the teachers union want to get rid of her. They worried about all the wrong things. They worried about where she's sending contracts. You don't have to believe me. I heard it on the radio. And I want to thank Mr. Ware and the Buzz Radio for giving us such a great opportunity to hear from that lady's mouth. But I'm going to tell y'all a secret about that. When she showed up to the radio station, I don't know if it was just me, body language was telling me she already had a deal to leave. I said it. Y'all didn't believe me because y'all thought I was just trying to be rough on the people at the radio. But the truth of the matter is, what was it, a week later, a few days later, she announced that they said she was leaving, stepping down, and she had an agreement, some type of, compensation package. Who the hell didn't know that? If you got some common sense, you already knew what it was. I already knew she was going to be gone because when the lady came to the radio station from the union, they was already talking about shit that ain't had nothing to do with performance. They start talking about money. Why does she need a driver? Why union mate lady, no offense to you, you might be a nice person. I don't know you. But your conversation should be about the numbers of proficiency. How we going to get better as a institution. Not know she's sending contracts to her friends. She ain't even been there long enough. Maybe those was y'all friends that the contracts is going to. I don't care that she has a driver. Maybe it was a temporary thing because she don't know the city. I don't know. I can't tell you. But for you to come on here and bitch about what this lady is getting in her perks sounds financial. You hired her to do a job to make the school system better, efficient. She came in a deficit. So it only makes sense that she would maybe look at contractors and start moving things around. She came in at a deficit, so she has to save money. But once again, the unions have their way. Don't nobody like her because I'm sure the union members had their meetings and they start holding the meetings and talking about certain things that held a certain narrative. Now she got to go. Did she get fired? Or did they have a mutual agreement of her leaving because she wasn't doing what she was hired to do? Did the numbers slip? Did she not do the job of making the kids more proficient in reading and math? Is that why they let her go? Or was it something different than that? Wow. Wow. If you know anything about corporate America, twin, she didn't resign. That's what was on the paperwork. They gave her an ultimatum. The resignation got her the money. If you resign, we're going to honor this. We're going to pay this. We'll get you a couple years salary, whatever it is, compensation package. They might have even hooked her up with a job. The bottom line is you got to go. And it wasn't, how long did she have? A year? So you telling me that the numbers was that bad, that they wanted her out so bad that the numbers weren't changing? Nobody liked her. For what reason? I never heard what reason that she resigned. You only resigned through pressure. She ain't been here long enough. The resignation came from pressure. And now if you really think about what we doing here, if you really want my people, I'm going to call them my people because I rock with my people, regardless of what people think. If you really want to show a change in our people, the more we get our parents engaged in their children's education, the superintendent or the school that can come in and do that, those are the ones that are winning. Those are the ones that want to see winners. The key to getting out of poverty is education. That's it. What I seen in the Fay apartments when that video y'all showed me in the Wyatt Live message group, that shit. You can tell people that's about their books and you can tell people that's about them streets. You can just tell. And until we get that taken care of, you ain't never going to fix the other shit. You're never going to fix that other stuff that you're dealing with, that you want to blame on systematic problems. The system is there. We have every ability to change the system. Be careful who you vote for and put in these school boards and put in front of these. Be careful. If they're not challenging the people with the money, then you just have a puppet in place. They're not going to change anything. The people with the money want it to be a certain way. Do you know there are people putting people? Listen, I got to be careful how I say this one because I don't want to sound insensitive. But there are people that fake like they love us, but really want a welfare state. They really want us to be dependent on the shit that they claim that we need from them. Oh, y'all didn't hear me. They're not trying to make things better for you. They trying to keep things just enough. You know, that's how welfare was. My mother explained to me. She said, Rand, I was on welfare for 2 years. All those other years of your life, I was working, baby. And the reason why is because welfare was never getting me over the hump. Do you understand? It was every time I had it, it was gone. They know just how much to give you to get you to the next 30 days so you can start over that struggle of a hustle. It ain't to be lived off of. It amazed me when I was coming up and I seen mothers who was going through the same cycle of their mothers, and they getting shit. It was $236 a kid. And I'm like, how do you, my mother, you can't live off $115 in food stamps. Can't live off that shit. And it wasn't meant to live off of. It was enough to sustain you. But then you in such a horrible condition that it's hard to be better, especially if no one's teaching you how to be better. Oh, and you know what? The saddest thing about this whole situation of what I just explained is the people that keep you in those conditions be the ones that love you, that say they love you the most. Oh, I'm out here fighting. It's an uphill battle, but we fighting. We fighting. No, you know what? Stop giving me fish. Stop giving me what I need to eat so I can survive 1 day or 30 days. Don't do that. Give me a fishing pole. Show me how to put the bait on there and show me where the nearest lake is, and I'll make my own food. I'll catch my own food. Y'all see what I'm saying? My point is, teach me how to be self-sufficient. Put some self-sufficiency around me so I can watch them do it. Don't put me around the same. Everybody with the same struggle gonna stay in the same bucket. Now we're gonna see who better than who. Who can be the brokest but look the richest? That's what Law Holmes was. Who white canvas Converse look better than the guy next door white canvas Converse? Well, I got the black ones. Or look, Chanel got the pink ones. We all got our own $3 Converse, man. The fuck? Putting bleach on them to keep them clean, tearing them up, trying to look new. I know. I already know. I ain't telling nobody that they don't. I ain't saying that nobody already know. I'm just brave enough to tell the truth out loud. I ain't gonna sit here and be talking about no bullshit about, oh, this administration got us all like, man, I can't do that. I can't do that. You can say I'm vouching for whatever or saying whatever, not holding nobody. You can say whatever you want to say. But the problems that I talk about today, I've been talking about for 5 years on this platform, and it's been happening my entire life. So I can't hold Biden administration accountable. I can't hold Trump. I can't hold the future. I can't hold none of them accountable for the shit that's been happening already. No one current. I can't do that. I can only tell you the reason why it's staying the way it's staying is because fake love is real. These people out here talking, acting like they want you to hate one person or people so you don't listen to them. Nah, man, we got that fresh fish. You don't have to go, man. They talking about going fishing, man. That shit for the birds, man. We got this fresh fish, man. I'm gonna give you this fish every week. Here, this enough to hold you for the whole week. I don't want no fish from you for the whole week. I don't want no welfare money. I don't want a check from you that's gonna last me the whole month. I want to be able to make my own money. Now, how do I do that? I didn't have a daddy to teach me. I didn't have a mother to teach me. So how am I going to get out of this rut? How am I going to do it? Well, you don't want to go listen to Wyatt because he's going to tell you you can do it. And if he tell you can do it, man, he just be talking shit. You know, he grew up on, man, do you know he grew up on the 4th floor of Law Homes? That's the high rise, the 4th floor, man, with a silver spoon in his mouth. He had everything he needed. He ain't need for nothing. He got everything. So, man, fuck what he talking about over there. Let's stay entertained. I mean, I don't get angry that it's not obvious. I do get a little frustrated. There's a little difference between frustrated and angry. I get frustrated a little bit that it's not as clear, that people want to keep you in the conditions that you'll stay part of what they doing. It only makes sense because a lot of people are only relevant in certain types of rooms. You ever seen, you know, there's rooms that got there's a person in the room that's just smart. You know, you walk in the room, you could always tell the smart guys, smart woman, smart man. And, you know, I find myself laughing at people that want to be the big fish in a small pond. They're limited. I'd rather be the guy in the room that's learning something from a big fish. Makes me a little bit more diversified. I don't have a problem. Look, I grew up not wanting to sit in the front of the room, in the classroom. I didn't want to be called on. As I got older, I sat in the front of the room because I want you to challenge me. I want you to challenge me. I want to know. And it got to a point where a teacher went from pulling me from the Mr. Bardock. He went from pulling me from the back of the room, sitting me in the front of the class, asking me the first 3 questions of what we were talking about, what studies and books we had. This was a Jewish man who took me and said, you better than how you act. You're better than your mentality. You're a smart guy. You just don't know it. You use your smarts for shit that keep you dumb. It took him to tell me that. Sit me in the front of the class. I answered the first 3 questions. This was hard for me to do. This man and I, we could not stay in the same room for half of the school year. He challenged me. I took up his challenge after he called me a fool, dummy, ignorant, all that old shit. I know that might not be your tactic, but I took it that way. Told me I was ignorant. Told me the true meaning of what it was to be ignorant. And he told me right to my face, right to my black ass face. He looked at me and he said, hey, Wyatt, after class one day, he said, listen, I know you and I don't see eye to eye, but young man, you're a smart fella. And you're just, I never told anybody this. You're just as smart as, and he pointed to the chair. These folks were out of the room. The whole class was out of the room. You're just as smart as, pointed over at the chair. It was an Asian that sat in that chair. And he said, the only difference between you and that person over there is they work to be what they want to be. They working towards being the person that can answer every question in the room. You don't work to be that. I said, because I don't want to be that. I'm still ignorant. I don't want to be that. So you saying you don't want to know something that makes you a better person? You don't want to know that? You're content with just being, you know, there's a difference between intelligence and common sense. I had a ton of common sense. That's what I thought was making me smart. But that's not what it is. Intelligence is different. I was willing to learn. I had the capacity, the ability to learn. My common sense just made me feel like I knew enough. I knew everything. I knew enough. I don't need nothing else. I can maneuver. When you from where we from, we work shit out. We don't have to figure it out like through the, you know, the way that it should be figured. We work shit out. Had enough sense to do all of that. So I've learned the hard way that sometimes you got to hold people accountable. You got to tell them the truth in order for them to make things right. Because if you keep learning off of false narratives, if you keep thinking a certain way, you're going to continuously get the same outcome. And it's not going to be because of other people. It's not going to be because of other things. It's not going to be because of systematic problems. Systems were built by somebody, and systems can be broken and torn down by somebody. If you don't believe me, watch what happens when this lady holds the Cincinnati Police Department in the city accountable for her husband getting stabbed in Over the Rhine at their house. Watch what happens when they hold.
I got something to tell everybody out there.
Just watch what happens when they hold. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. My apologies, guys. Let me get my face off of there. Watch what happens when they hold that man accountable, or hold the city accountable for the neglect that the city has provided that neighborhood that none of us will go do. She is about to open up a can of worms. It's going to go all the way. Watch how the whole argument changes. And you know what? You have my word. Since I'm telling you now, and I know a lot of people are cool with that. You have my word, right? That I will not come back. Since I'm saying it now, I will not come back and say I told you so. But I will say this before she does what she's going to do. I will say this. It ain't nothing that I hadn't told you. I'm not a victim like her husband is a victim, like her family is now a victim. But I've been told you that they let these folks out in the neighborhood they come from, and they don't care if they violate, kill, destruct the same neighborhood that they let them back in. The only difference with Over the Rhine right now is it has a few more white people than they normally had. So now when you start having that same decision making of letting people out and they in these communities, this man had his ankle monitor cut off by himself since February. And you couldn't allow that. You didn't want to let that community know. You didn't want nobody to know, because you know why? Because we too busy trying to tell you that crime is down in our community and we're doing a great job. How you doing a great job? You got almost 130, 140 police officers short. Now you got guys out there overworking, working double shifts, seeing trauma after trauma every day, because I know we only see the police when something bad happens. The police hear the same calls daily, day after day after day after day. And we don't see all of that. They see it. Day after day after day after day. They see the same trauma. Car accidents, domestic violences, kids running around with guns, stolen cars, home invasions, stabbings, shootings, robberies. You know what some people say? Well, man, that's just life. That's just life. You know, crime is going to happen. Look, I look at it like this. Some kids in school are going to fail. But because kids in school fail, does that mean that failure is acceptable? Does it mean just because we have children in our neighborhoods failing in school that there's no solution, because failing is just an obvious thing that's going to happen no matter what? No, it's time to go in, set some bars high before bars are put in front of these kids' face. There's ways of making change. It's just some of you don't believe the change can be made. I know this is my preaching moment, because people don't like it. See, accountability come out the tongue a little bit different. Accountability sounds like you're preaching. Just talking about shit that's happening and going on, that's not preaching. That's speaking what happened. That's factual. Accountability come off like, oh man, you always trying to tell us something. You always trying to talk down to people. No, I'm just being honest. If you really want things to stop, address the problem. Just address the problem. Now, once we have and know the real problem, it ain't about who control what anymore. It's what you want to do and what you want to be and what choices you decide to make. It's making parents not want their kid to engage in their kids' life and want their kids to have put a higher bar in front of those kids, and they'll stop hanging with low bar kids. Make education a priority in a child's life and see how that works out. And I promise you, you have my word. The day that we do that, we'll all be free. We might not see it now, but the same thing that has put people at a higher pay scale, a more productive life, a more wanting to get up and do something with themselves life every day. That all comes from being proud of who you are, proud of what you do, proud of what you know. It all comes from that. So if you want to call me the preacher, you want to call me the guy, whatever you want to call me, that's fine. But I've been here 5 years saying the same thing, just different kind of ways, and I'm sticking to it. And all I'm gonna tell you is this: they're not going to, and this ain't gonna simmer right with a lot of people. But all this immigration they got coming in from these third world countries and shit like that, they gonna do them the same way. They're not going to make education a priority to them. They've already shown that. They're putting them in schools that are failing. So you're making it even worse in a failing situation. You're just throwing gas on a fire that can't be detained in the first place. You're bringing in people and didn't have a plan. That shows me no plan means you're planning to fail. Focus on us. Leave all that other stuff alone. I promise you, that's the only way we're going to be free. Peace and love to my family. I love everyone. See you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Wyatt Live. Peace.
I got something to tell everybody out there. Sometimes you may feel like life have you in bondage. You don't know which way to turn. And you just feel like deep down inside, God, you have to help me. But take it from me someday. It may not be your day or the day that you want it to happen, but someday we'll all be free. I got a message to tell y'all. I want y'all to listen to him. Listen very, very carefully, because it's a short song with a big message. Someday we'll all be free. Listen.
Even though right now you may be going through, somehow you wear a smile. Rainy days don't wash away the pain inside. No, you can't hide. Lift your head to the sky. In our lives, we all need some relief. We all need peace to fulfill our destiny. I don't know what tomorrow may bring, but all I know is someday we'll all be free. Take some time and just what he's saying.
I got something to tell everybody out there.